might factor in to who has the advantage on this here. So we are going to go to Bank, Border, and Oregon, with Bank being Nomads pick. They're going to start defense first, and Sinister starting attack on Border, their map pick.
Bank, Border, Oregon. All right, well, it's an interesting lineup. We've got a good mixture of gameplay here, starting with the more rigid, then moving into the more kind of fluid, but then ending with the total absolute fluid of Oregon, which is it's always been kind of open. I mean, you know, it's interesting the way that Oregon plays, because it's in a way one of the most rigid maps in that there's not a lot of room for roaming.
Yeah.
And then also in a way, there's so much room for expression of self as on an individual level. Like, you can just make some plays that will change the outcome of each round as a solo player.
Yeah.
That are not as difficult as they would be if you're looking at some other maps sometimes. It plays out differently every time, of course, but we'll see. Maybe there's something different that some of these squads can show us. Like we were talking about earlier, Challenger League, you usually see a lot of cooler strategies start to rise up from there. And actually, something similar happening with USN as well. So we'll see if that is to be today.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting, because I think these teams are going to be playing some of their good strategies here, because they definitely want a shot at these finals, especially as, if you're a team in Challenger League, you're not close to any kind of finals. This is a great opportunity for you to show, especially for North America and U.S. specifically, who've struggled in a lot of other competitions, to really show up in this one. This is going to be a good one for them. But which of these two will it be? And even if they make it farther, we know they have some stiff competition in the two other finalists that we're sending to the finals. So this should be exciting, I think, for these guys. We are going to have Border again as our second map, so it should be interesting to see if that's again the finisher map, or if we will actually make it to map number 3, Oregon. As you said, that could be one where they can really kind of express themselves. We don't really know whose map preference that was, because neither team picks it. So it's that'll be interesting, assuming we make it that far.
Given the format, I wholly expect both of these teams to make it to the finals one way or another.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really being called into question. I think the question is, which is going to do it sooner?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to be deciding here. Well, I mean, not deciding here today, but you know what I mean. We're going to be deciding which one's going to be progressing today. So, Nomads banning first, and they, of course, are the defenders.
Well,
Montaigne? Interesting.
That is not someone you see a ton on Bank. Not that it's unheard of.
No, I mean, yeah, no, the push
you used to.
The push from servers still happens with Montaigne.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it's more infrequent now than it used to be. Because I feel like when teams like Penta were bringing it out, a lot more teams were kind of copycatting it, and then it kind of fell off, because we saw it just fail a lot as well.
That's true. It has seen a mixed set of results, but it still happens. It's just like you said. It's less frequent than it once was. Jaeger, the next man here for the defense.
So Lions definitely still on the board for one thing, and definitely some interesting mixed operator bans here. No Hard Breacher getting banned as well, so all 3 of those are still available. And then as well, none of the usual suspects on defense either. Both Echo and Mira are still going to be available as well. So it's down to Jaeger and Maestro of all the things to get banned. Jaeger ban is always interesting, because that means grenade kills are coming. Yeah,
it's a big emphasis going for. Well, it will have to be a big emphasis for both teams, and that's why you can see right now, right off the bat, the Ying being picked out by Cookies. Makes a lot of sense why that Jaeger has been banned now. And, of course, it looks like he might just be trying to 6-pick onto the Ying, moving past the reveal phase.
Well, it should be interesting, too. It looks like they're bringing out a Clash and a Mirror, so they're going to have the ability to do a lot of just sitting and watching in certain areas, which will give them some intel advantage, but Rainbow actually going to sneak off of that. Cookie's doing exactly what you said he was going to do into that 6th pick, and Rainbow's actually still going to be bringing an intel op, just a different one, that's going to provide a lot more spacious visibility, which, I mean, of the two in terms of visibility, you're going to get a lot more of that with the Black Eyes, because there's all these big open spaces you can see a lot of across the map with those. So that's not a bad one, especially when you're trying to play open area here like this. You want to see where the approaches are coming from, because there are a lot of angles of approach on this bomb site.
Interesting reinforcement there from Sour. He's going to be actually reinforcing 2 walls on the south side of Kitchen. Okay, so I guess what he's trying to do is alleviate any potential pressure that can be applied via the printer room into kitchen, though he does also make it harder to hold printer room.
Yeah, more often than not, you want that initial wall open to be able to put pressure on, or at least soft, and be able to shoot through it.
You cannot vault that. If there's an open hole there, it's just not something that's easy to vault. So, very peculiar setup from Nomads so far. Not necessarily, you can't call it bad necessarily because we haven't seen it be played yet, but it is counter to what is considered meta on this site.
To be fair, though, a lot of the meta defenses on the site haven't been very successful. So
I mean, it's. I'd say it's negative results for the defense usually on open area.
Not to say that they aren't good defensive setups, just they haven't shown the success rate you would hope for. So maybe this will have maybe because it's not meta, because they're not as used to attacking it, we'll see a little bit more of an unpredictable result. But either way, Yellow is going to take control of Tellers very quickly, playing that aggressive skies-like fast approach here. And then so of course what you have your entry doing here. We've talked about entry operators kind of falling off a little bit in the current meta, but definitely we've seen quite a bit of it today.
Well, actually, Ashe in particular has been flying back into the meta recently. I'm not sure what it is, but she's been having a pretty heavy resurgence, and I think the role is more, like the dedicated fragger, that role has taken a bit of a hit recently, but the Ashe play has soared as of late, and I think it was, coming off of Paris was really when it started.
Yeah. Very true. We'll see if it pays off for them this round, though, as Yellow is still alive, making that slow push, and he's working some angles now instead. He's a little wary going into that 90-degree angle of the admin office, trying to push in here, looking for anything hanging up on that ceiling he could take advantage of. There are definitely still people playing above that with Tomas and Rainbow hanging out up there, as well as 3 people down on site. So far, a decent amount of map control, and they're going to start opening the wall. Chapstick blowing the wall right into kitchen. That's going to force X-Creation and Glitch to actually find crossfire angles and have some success. There we go. Chapstick the one to win that fight, though.
Nice shot there from Chap on the Glitch, and Nomads not in a great position after losing both of their mirror windows effectively. Thomas will take out Billboard before Yellow able to refrag immediately onto Rainbow, as well as getting the down onto the flanking Legion. You can see that the Candelas will be used in earnest, a little bit wasteful there, but he's the diffuser, and oh, what a flank from X-Creation. As Cookies goes down, Yellow on low HP, also potentially a victim soon here. Well, X-Creation also on very low HP. So it's going to be a hard fight, but he still has the diffuser in a way. It's on the other side of the wall, but he knows he has the attackers pushing to get it. Now he's got the positional advantage as he starts to cut off that rotation, but he's not looking the right direction. Manages to take out Talon, so he's got 2 1 HP effectively attackers left to eliminate. On 0-0-0 though, facing his own mirror window and looking the wrong way, he will easily take a bullet and survive through the wall. The defuse plant has gone down though, and Thermite right in front of him, not spotted by X-Creation. Chapstick will shut down that Mira. So Sinister take first round.
That definitely got pretty close there, but towards the end, man advantage clearly in the attacker's favor. Nicely done by Sinister, who had, I think, a good swift initial take of most of the map. Definitely paid off in the end, gave him some extra time to be able to play with. A few misplays there in terms of trying to take out the guy that's underneath the desk, not realizing that he'd already downed him using a Candela a little wastefully, as you said. Because he didn't realize he downed him, he was trying to hit him through the wall, trying to put on extra pressure to make sure that he could get the kill. And in swinging so wide and firing the entire time at the desk actually cost his own life due to that flank. So, like, a few misplays there, but overall, a good execute by Sinister. They're going to try open again. Well.
SiCreation having in that last round staggeringly poor awareness of where his opponents were. This is one thing I really want to take away, because he had a potential to win that round. It was a nice try, to be certain, and as you said, going back to open area. I really question this decision. I'm not really behind going to open area twice in a row, considering how directly they were countered the first attempt.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're going to put a little more effort into stopping this wall getting open, for example, and just putting 4 bandit batteries on it, because there's not like a Thatcher or anything on the other side to be able to clear those.
This is a Twitch, but it's not
true.
It's not an ideal operator to take out batteries.
It's a long angle to sneak around there.
Yeah, it definitely is. So you're going to have to come around that corner and pretty immediately hit one of the bandit batteries. But
the upside, though, is if he puts all 4 on, there's nothing left to trick with.
Right. So we'll see if he decides to trick or if he decides to go for that just immediate 4 Same exact bulletproof camera being placed upstairs to give some information.
I mean, I don't think that was terrible last time, but I don't think it also really did a whole lot because they didn't really attack so much from there. A lot of the attack was, where you see here, concentrated through tellers from lobby. Yellow pretty much repeating what he did last time. Billboard going to drone him in, make sure he's clear for this approach, and take control of that because that does offer the ability to start to get in. Let's see if this time they try and clear out more of the top floor. Last time they weren't so focused on that. But it didn't seem to matter too much. They were able to manage to take most of the site regardless, as long as Chapstick's able to get that kitchen wall open yet again.
And I'm sure he will be, unless Nomads Bandit has something to say about it. That's, of course, going to be Glitch. And Cookies trying to address the roamers that are playing upstairs. We saw this from Nomads last time, and it was not very successful. But they're doing it yet again. They're going to try once more. I mean, it's a dangerous thing to try and roam that top floor so heavily. But considering Sinister just pushed them back last time, didn't necessarily get those kills, I can't argue with the decision-making process with Nomads.
Yeah, I mean, it's a case where they just have to execute on those decisions and make them, you know, pan out for them. But so far, only 1 death just now by Talon, but that is the smoke. That is meaning a lot less time going to be burned off. Nice goo mine coming up. That is going to give away some positional information. Does get caught, but it looks like they are more concerned with taking the top floor this time. Yellow actually taking a different approach, possibly going to try and take through the door. That's going to give away his position a little bit, shooting that camera. And they're going to have to start to collapse here within the next 30 seconds or so. But Chapstick does finally get that. As I say that, you were mentioning earlier about Glitch, bandit tricking, and that is a success. I imagine Chapstick's got 1 more left, but he's got to make it count.
He's doing about a half-and-half bandit trick. It's such a large wall. He's got 2 pre-placed and now 4 pre-placed as he seems to have given up on the actual tricking and has just decided to leave the batteries down. Yellow, very nice shot there onto Sour. Slowly peeking in through the doorway, just looking for any fight that he can be given. And Thermite, instead of opening up the kitchen wall, will just decide to open up one of the drop-downs. And Thomas is going to take out Yellow as he pushes into the site, so no more for the Ash. But Cookies takes on Excretion, and a very nice shot indeed through the drop-down. Glitch, though, good positioning onto Talon. And Chapstick will take out Thomas as he pushes into open area. The final defender is Glitch, and he will be very, very thoroughly blinded by the Candelas. But it doesn't look like Sinister actually knows where he is, and he might be able to see the defuse planter on so little time, he might be able to win the round just off that. And yes, indeed, the down and then the drop followed by the TK from Billboard onto Cookies. Absolute chaos for Sinister. And Nomads take their first round.
Glitch, the easy MVP of that round. First bandit tricking and then getting hit by at least 2 Candelas and somehow turning it around. What was that plant spot? That was the biggest mistake of all, compounded by the team kill. Just a terrible, terrible finish by Sinister that round.
Yeah, they were planting exposed to small office and they didn't check small office.
Well, we threw some Candelas in there. No one can hide under the desk or anything. We're fine.
Oh, man.
A misplay I imagine they won't make again, but it is only 1-1. They managed to win the first round fairly effectively, but at least Nomads was able to somewhat prove the effectiveness of their open area defense, despite the fact that it was more due to mistakes by Sinister. But well played by Glitch. Nicely done dropping at the last second so they couldn't win off of kills.
Definitely the MVP for that round. Now, they are going to defend the basement as their secondary, so we're not going to see anything crazy happen here. Although, I mean, open area is, I think, widely considered to be the least defendable site on this map. CEO and Archives are seeing a lot of play, actually, recently, and open as well. You know, honestly, everything on Bank is I think, more in the meta these days.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is still the best bomb site for the most part, depending on how well you can defend it. It really does kind of come down to the operators that are available sometimes, though, to be able to pull that off. But there's so many useful ones for defending this site. You've got Pulse, you've got Smoke, you've got Echo, you've got Maestro. There's a lot of good operators, and you can only ban 2, so there's a good chance you'll get quite a few of them that are very effective in this. But some of it comes down to, like, some of the players are very, very good at holding stairs. You've got 2 important stairs, the ones you just saw Legion throwing his goo mines on, the Skylight stairs, and then the ones that the server stairs that we were mentioning, talking about earlier when we were talking about Alibi with Slash, how important those are to defend and how much utility can get dedicated to holding those. If you can hold those for a long time, it definitely pays off. Yellow, just pushing and aggressive, doesn't realize he's down the Pulse. He's going to realize it now, seeing all that blood trail there, and going to be able to finish the job. And that is a Pulse who could have been very useful in stopping the plant later, now being punished for his aggression.
So yeah, just a heads up for future reference, when you bring a Pulse on basement, basically what you want to do with him is stick him in the vault, and he can then, you know, heartbeat detect into the server and call out when that default plant happens. He also has a C4, so you can deny the plant indirectly, which is great. So it's a really useful piece of utility. And as you said, it's now gone because he, for some reason, was inside of server.
Well, the upside is they still have an Echo drone. You have the Echo playing in Vault instead. He's going to set that Yokai drone up on the roof. I imagine at some point that's going to give the same visibility in some ways as a Pulse. So assuming they don't catch it, they can still get the same basic effect.
Yep, and it's definitely not a full loss here for Sinister, though. The Yokai drone as well is going to deny that diffuse plant. So good job to Nomads, and Sinister are going to be slowed up despite getting that Pulse kill.
Now they're just at this point having to try and bait it out and trying to take out that Yokai drone, but there's still Smokes to be part of this as well. C4 unfortunately misses, so that is definitely not going to be as effective. And the Pulse dying as well also meant one less C4, but Chap gets down in the meantime. That is going to put him at low health, which means Smoke is much more likely to be able to finish off with a kill. Thomas hoping to get a lucky impact nade there, not working out, but a lot of utility left to stop this out, and only a minute left for Sinister.
That's plenty of time to get this default plant, but you can see that Nomads has got a lot more aggressive. Xtration just looking for a fight, and he will enter into one. Very many lit players here on SiNisterGG. They're not in the best position to get this execute as more of those smokes start to come down. Gotta imagine Glitch is low on smokes at this point, possibly only one left. Candelas are starting to roll down, and you can see they're being thrown behind the site and into the site itself. Billboard will take out Xtration. Glitch gets a gas canister's kill, 2 for Thomas as he peeks wide into the doorway, and Sinister will be backing away from that, bruised and bloodied. Still Yokai drone in play, and Billboard unable to spot it, but Talon is able to actually find it eventually, which means we might actually see a diffuse plant, but it's in default spot, and Thomas gets another kill. He's going for the 4. He will get the 4, and Nomads take another round.
A lot of great plays from Thomas there. I mean, definitely just keeping the pressure on from that doorway. Every time they thought they had control, they lost it due to his popping up because they had to be so concerned about Red Hallway. And some of that, again, is due to the operator bans and the way those worked out, definitely not in their favor there. So nicely done. I mean, the advantage they had was the Jaeger being banned, and they're trying to capitalize on that with the Candelas, but it's just not really paying off in the end.
No, definitely not. CEO office will be the next site. So we're going all over the place here from Nomads, and they might even make it to every single site if they defend Archives next.
Hopefully, yeah, hopefully Teller's Archives is next, and we can see, that way we can compare and contrast what are their good bomb sites.
It's always fun, yeah, to see everything played.
Yeah.
Now, so far, open area was definitely not a good site for Nomads. They did manage to win the second attempt, but it was all thanks to the clutch from Glitch, basically. On that basement hold, they were nice and even, especially considering they lost their Pulse so early on. That was a really nice defense. If they had had the Pulse, you got to imagine Nomads would have had a relatively easy time of holding that out.
Yeah, just so much delay utility, even with the Maestro being banned, they had pretty much everything else in their favor to deny. So definitely working out for them. We'll see though if Sinister can bring it back. They're only 1 point behind here, but so far their attacks have been pretty stunted, despite the fact that they were mostly attacking a weaker bomb site initially, which they were only able to win 1 of the 2 times. feel like definitely some mistakes coming out from Sinister in terms of their attacks. We're seeing, I'd say, a little bit of sloppiness coming out from them to an extent. They're just not seeming to read into the way that Nomads are playing their defenses and capitalize on that. It seems like they're trying to play either the way they want to, the way they expect to, and Nomads is kind of denying that to an extent.
Sloppiness is definitely the right word, and they're not really adjusting very much.
We'll see, though. I mean, this is the first map. The halfway point hasn't hit yet. A lot can change here, and it, as I said, it's only 1 point behind. But I'm definitely seeing some strength from Nomads, although not right there. What was he doing? And Yellow finds a second one onto Glitch. Those are two important operators that should have been in sight. Shut down early. That is...
They were in sight, apparently.
Well, yeah, I mean, the long angles, though, that is what you don't want to give up. Nicely done. A great angle play.
2 doorways and 2 windows to get that kill. Well done to Yellow.
Yeah.
Denying the mirror window and also taking out the smoke to boot.
You don't usually see an Ash on the rappel either. That was a definitely interesting choice. But there we go, opening up to a nice surprise from Rainbow.
But a refrag from Talon and a second for Talon, leaving just the castle. 1 versus 4, not a great spot for Sour, and he will be droned out, but not spotted actually by Bill, who's going to actually, hopefully eventually spot the castle in that receptions. Either way, the diffuser has been planted, and now the fight has started. Billboard doing some damage, but Chapstick ultimately the one to get the final kill. Sinister will take their second round, so nice even 2-2 here.
Well, after we were just talking about Sinister being sloppy, it just... I mean, a lot of credit to Yellow, though, for that round. Absolutely, because, I mean, had he not gotten those 2 kills in particular, that site would have been so much harder to take. It wasn't just that he got 2 kills, it was 2 important kills for taking the site, and he opened the site wide up by doing that, and they were just absolutely able to capitalize on what was left. Unfortunately, they're not going to go Teller's Archives for their last bomb site. They are, rather than do CEO again, they're just going to go straight for open. This seems like a questionable decision to be made.
Yeah, so open area was really not Nomad's side. They defended it the first time, they got absolutely destroyed. The second time around, they almost got absolutely destroyed, but Glitch managed to clutch it. So this is definitely a risk, but they seem to be dead set on holding their primary bomb site.
Yeah, they're going to give it one more go. Hopefully this time going to be able to do it a little more successfully. But Chapstick's going to read into that bandit tricking this time, probably not fall for it the same way, and get that open a lot sooner. Again, though, they don't have a whole lot to be able to stop those batteries. Not even the Twitch this time means they're going to have to find a different way. Perhaps there's some angles from above?
I don't think they were imagining that Nomads would go to this open area defense again. If they had expected this, they would have brought a Thatcher. But it looks like they're more set up to attack maybe Archives.
Yeah, I mean, it's a case where they couldn't have gone Lockers again. They could have gone CEO again, but Teller's Archives would have been, or would have made more sense, I would say, but...
You could also go CEO again. I mean, CEO could have been a completely different story if they hadn't lost 2 players basically for free to Yellow repelling on the main door.
Yeah, I can't imagine they were going to fall for that a second time, so it does seem like that might have been the better choice, but maybe they just felt like, you know, we don't have a lot of confidence in this defense anymore.
Well, open area, not exactly one to instill confidence either, but it's seemingly their most practiced as they seem to as they're going back to it. Sinister going to be putting emphasis on the top floor. They want to clear it out, get any roamers pushed downstairs, and they are doing the typical pushing through the front door as they did the last 2 times they attacked this open area.
Well, they're going to have to make sure they get enough map control to make this work again, and Yellow not playing the same aggressive operator he had been before. It's going to take it a little bit differently, as again, probably expecting a different bomb site, but he's still going to be useful in the site because there are castle barricades he could potentially open, although that might be better for Cookies to do a little bit safer. Nice Legion Mine there is going to at least notify them that he is playing towards those upstairs, but no one's actually going to push on that information, so that might end up not doing a whole lot for them as a team. We've seen a lot of Tomas just throwing out goo mines in situations where they just get shot right after, but it also has been useful for identifying specifically where Yellow has been a lot of the times.
Interesting Claymore in the middle of the middle of the stairs. I guess it's just to, you know, give prompting. It will do just that. The control here for Sinister is well established. They also have the right tools for the job. Bringing the Hibana means that they can open up all these drop downs, and anything that Nomads didn't want open is not going to be stopped anymore. Rainbow is playing mute, but does not have any jammers on the kitchen wall, and the Bandit's too far away. That's glitch, a huge mistake from Nomads. Means that Sinister now has the avenue that they also wanted. Bill will also take out X, so good kill there for Bill.
Looks like he was going to maybe shoot the canister, but decided he didn't want to give away his position just yet. So hopefully he's still going to get that open. Bill, he's finishing up with a second one. Fortunately, some missed shots from Chapstick there.
But a double for Bill, and he's looking pretty good right now. The mirror window is still established, but they're not really helping with anything at this point since the SiNisterGG have managed to open up behind them, and you can't really play them as a defender anymore. Interesting lack of information here that Chapstick has to watch the server stairs. Rainbow trying to push up main stairs will die to yellow. Glitch gets Chapstick, but Billboard shuts him out, so 3 for Bill. But Talon the final kill onto Thomas, and Sinister take the last round of the first half, ending it 3-2 in their favor.
Well, again, wondering why they went to open areas. They lost it one more time. Not been a good sight for them, and so far that's going to give Sinister the edge. We were talking about they were a little bit sloppy in the beginning. They did manage to shore that up, I think, to an extent. Towards the end there, I think those were definitely better attacks, the last couple. Obviously, the one where Yellow got those 2 early kills was a bit of a game changer for that round, but either way, I think they executed on a fight and didn't throw away lives after that. And going into the halfway point here, advantage over to Sinister.
Definitely advantage over to Sinister. I mean, the rounds that we saw Nomads be able to win were, you know, the basement defense, which was pretty one-sided, I got to say, and very impressive that they managed to make it so, given that they did not have a pulse in play, who died too early in the round to yellow. The open area defense that they won, though, was barely a win, and the fact that they're going back to open area for a 3rd time in a row, huge blunder.
It does show me that while Nomads have some good strategies, they don't have enough of them. And I think that's the big problem. It's just lack of variability in terms of what they can do. Because it should have been a case where they can go, we're not working with these, let's go to plan B. They didn't seem to have a plan B. They just kept going back to plan A, which was, as you said, it only worked due to some mistakes being made by Sinister, and you cannot count on mistakes for your strategy to win.
Yeah, and that's it for defense for Nomads. They're going to now be going over to attack. And before we get to that, though, we are going to throw to a 3-minute break. So we'll be back shortly with the second half of this first map.
All right, welcome back to part 2 of map 1 of match 2 of day 4 of USN. Thought about that for a second, just make sure it was accurate. But either way,
good.
we are in the second half here of Bank. So
Yeah.
we had to rehost and took a little time to make sure the settings are correct for that, of course, so that the rehost data is correct. That's one of the things that's it's a pro and con in terms of rehost. Now they take a little bit longer to set up, but they're going to be more accurate in terms of the scores and the rotations and all that stuff now. So it is kind of nice, but it also is a little bit more work if they happen later in a match. But either way, this is also a nice time for them. We often see like teams taking tactical timeouts during the halfway point, so this kind of worked as one for these teams. It's going to be a case where Nomads are going to think about some of the mistakes they might have made when it comes to them playing on their attack now, if they could shore those up, because they're only down 1 point. So Bank is anyone's game, but this was Nomads' pick.
Yeah, they're only down 1 point, but it did look like Sinister had, I think, a little bit of a keen edge in terms of the extra, just the pure skill. They seem to be having a lot of situations where they were just purely out fragging Nomads.
Well, they have the experience and the pedigree to be at that point.
Exactly. But Nomads, on the other hand, have managed to take some rounds away. So this is not all over yet. In fact, far from it. Just 1 round away from this being a nice and even match right now. So Nomads will be going on to attack, and Sinister on the defense. It looks like we're going to have lockers, so the basement as our first hold here from Sinister.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to try open area as their primary. They are going to sneak in a Clash 6 pick, though, so that is our first Clash actually played here, I believe, because the one time it was going to be picked in the first match, it was 6 picked off of.
I think it was multiple times it was 6 picked off on the first match. It was like, hey, we're going to play Clash. No, we're not, turns out. But
JK.
Good operator, definitely. Just not seeing any play earlier.
Well, we'll see if it factors in this round here. I think Billboard probably could do a good job on it, but remains to be seen. They are going to also bring a pulse down here for lockers. Hopefully Talon's not going to play that overly aggressively into the servers, because that's what Billboard could do. Billboard can play it very aggressively. He could go up and just block that sewer entrance even if he wants to, in terms of trying to stop them from creeping on in. Although obviously you don't want to stand too close, because you can become a good victim to melee if you don't quick switch fast enough to go for a kill. But it is definitely a case where, while Clash isn't meant for 1v1s, you could still pull them off if you have the right timing. Probably better than Monty.
You can see Cookies is contemplating spawn peeking from the back door there.
Don't do it.
Not exactly a solid strategy, but he was definitely thinking about it for a second. Now, looks like it's just going to be drone clear here for Nomads. They're going to want to open up the drops in the open area. But first they have to establish, hey, there's nobody here. Woo, we can push in, easy peasy. And once they've done that, they open up the drops, and then you could apply a lot of pressure to the site. There's not really anything the defenders can do about this. A lot of teams, what they'll do is they'll try to roam heavy, above open area or in open area. But Sinister not taking that risk, because it is very much just that, a risk. I definitely agree with that calculation. 1 minute used here before Nomad starts opening up the drop downs. A huge thing that confuses me is Glitch is the first one in. He's the entry fragger as the Habana. Should there be any roamers, that right there means you just lost all the potential to open these drop downs.
That was definitely a lot of confidence in their droning, I would say, at that point. Maybe
Agreed.
Overconfidence. I think that was a mistake doing that first, but at least not punished.
Yeah.
The droning covered it to an extent, but people can move very quickly in this game. So just because you drone something doesn't mean it stays clear. They are going to pop their first Lion EE1D, though, to try and keep it clear while they start to take this map control and put pressure down into the servers from the sewers. This is where those Candelas will come into play, into clearing behind that server, as they know someone is behind it now, and Jaeger is banned, so nothing they can do to stop this. Cookies just has to stay alive, and he's even overhealed to make sure he'll do so.
Here comes the rush, though, from Rainbow, and it will secure the kill. Cookies goes down, and X will take out Yellow thanks to a Claymore. So that's that rotation you were talking about by the main stairs back into open area. Clearly, there was the Claymore in a good position to deny that. You can see the pulse being played properly here by Talon, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter, as the rest of Sinister is getting absolutely shredded. You see Chap is not in a great position as that smoke. He is going to be able to deny Sour planting the diffuser in the immediate, but Sour just needs to wait a little bit as the second gas canister pops out. That was one on top of another.
That was definitely a mistake. I mean, there was literally no reason to pop that second one. Might have been a misclick, but either way, Sour is going to get away with getting some of that plant down, but no, in the end, Chapstick wins that fight.
Chapstick taking out the initial planter, but he's out of gas canisters now, and he won't be able to deny the plant any longer. Thomas will take out Billboard from above, so that's those drops we talked about earlier coming into play. Oh, just over the head of the Pulse, and Thomas will get the final last kills as Chapstick gets 2 for himself. So Nomads do take the round, but it was a lot closer than it should have been.
Yeah, definitely a tough one. Well played by Chapstick on the smoke outside of the misplay of getting the first throw. He did at least get the second one in terms of, I'm sorry, the third one to get that kill. But nonetheless, that got a little scrappy there towards the end. Definitely more so than I think Nomads would have liked. We'll see if they could play it a little smarter this time, though. Unfortunately, that yellow run into that Claymore really cost them because that could have been a valuable flank. That is definitely not going to happen. So we'll see. I think the rounds where yellow goes off, it definitely goes a lot better for Sinister overall. And the rounds where he gets shut down early, it doesn't seem to go as well. It's not that it all revolves around him, but he just seems to be an important factor. Billboard going to sneak off of that, do the reverse of the 6 pick, and go to the mirror, which makes more sense here as they try lockers a second time.
I think it makes sense that they're going to go to lockers a second time. They were unsuccessful, but it seemed like they were still putting up a fight. A big portion of that round was the efficiency that Nomads had with clearing out the drop downs and establishing that vertical control. If Sinister can put some pressure onto the drops and deny the just outright immediate control that Nomads had, then I think this is still winnable as a hold. And it looks like that's something they're keen on doing. As you can see, they're applying some utility to the very top floor, as well as that Archives Tellers area, which is a good position to use if you want to deny the drops being opened up.
Yeah, definitely Cookie setting up those castle barricades upstairs definitely means they want to play for some top floor control. Whether or not that will cost them a life or get them something is definitely up for debate. They are going with that open the whole wall strategy we've seen some teams do. I think I remember Evil Geniuses being one of the teams doing that first, and it was somewhat effective. Talon going to be actually playing that aggressive pulse to an extent, but he's playing it in terms of trying to catch them when they're going to be in sewers, hopefully before they're up against his face, but it doesn't look like they want to push sewers just yet. Anyways, they could even be going for a garage take here. Look how many people are making this push, and I don't think they have any intel to be able to spot this. No cameras out here. There's a lion already going to stop them from potentially spotting it early by pushing up against them. This could be an interesting take if it works.
Yeah, but it's completely collapsed upon so far. Cookies will take out Glitch, and Candelas will bounce harmlessly into nothingness. Sour looking for a long angle, but not able to find it. There's no one playing it from Sinister right now. He's got a good position, though. If he can get the thermite charge off, he might be able to do some extra damage, cut off that red hallway, though it's unlikely that he'll be allowed to do it. You can see the smoke so close right now. Cookies gets a second kill onto Rainbow. He's just shredding these attackers as they attempt to push through the garage. X will take out Yellow, so a good refrag, a very important one at that, but he's not able to do any more work immediately. Sour will finally shut down Cookies in the ace bomb site, so good job, nice shot. And now that crossfire is lessened from Sinister. What a push from Sour as well into Chap, and a third for Sour. The play from the Thermite here turning into the Fragmite, leaving Talon the final defender. He's got so much time he's got to work against here. The C4 will miss the Thermite inside of B, but the shots will land onto X. He hears Thomas drop right behind him, but unable to hit the twist as Thomas gets that final kill. Nomads will take another round.
Definitely, I don't know. I was going to say a good take, then I was going to say a bad take. It was a very mixed bag take. It was, again, they went to push with that Habana as their entry fragger into it. I mean, doesn't matter as much if you're not trying to get hatches anyways, but again, why? Why throw them in there with that operator? You might as well just put them on Ash at that point, but it might have been a late call in terms of deciding, you know what, let's just push in garage. We see some opportunity here. They don't have anything to stop us. They're committing some utility to upstairs. Well, let's just go for a sweep down. But it just barely worked, and most of that was due to Sour's plays. Sour really salvaged that round for them. They'd even burned both of their EE1Ds with still a minute 30 left, so they didn't have anything to stop rotations from the defenders themselves when they didn't even have as much map control yet. So Sour's plays very well done. Although, to be fair, I suppose that push in from the Hibana could have worked out had the timing been better in terms of him just pushing right into the B site. But what a risky play, just barely paying off. We'll see CEO now be the defensive secondary choice here.
I think a more typical secondary choice, though I'm surprised, to be honest, that we haven't seen Teller's Archives yet from either team. That's just completely going into the back corner. Sinister are setting up a very default hold here. They have not brought a castle, which means there's a little bit less defensive validity, or in my opinion. I mean, you're not going to be able to deny as many angles. You know, usually you'd see that castle brought to maybe be put on the windows that face towards the main lobby, or maybe on the meeting hall doorway to allow your Mira player to be a little bit safer, but it's just not going to happen here. Instead, they're actually going to play pretty openly on this top floor, so you can see having even the echo in the garage, rather the elevator, for example. Yeah. And this is a dangerous position because it means you only have the one rotation, which is that open drop down, and that could be cut off relatively easily by the attackers.
It's interesting, yeah, they're playing a 3 ACOG strategy. So with that openness, they're hoping that they're going to out-peak the attackers, that they're going to get those kills before the attackers get map control because of the long angles that they can control. But like you said, this is a dangerous game they're playing. This is going to depend on them landing their shots and being very effective, and also managing to keep a fair amount of map control so that there's no flanks coming out from Nomads. But Nomads, I imagine, are going to drone this to an extent and be able to catch those. I don't know, it's going to depend on Sinister's execution early in the round here to slow this down.
So the Excaros on the east-facing walls over by the open air, or the open skylight. It's going to allow for lines of sight, but it also means that Sour is going to have a really difficult time if he wants to thermite these walls. I don't know how I feel about the use of the Hibana here.
I guess the point is to stop any kind of impact tricking or something, but Sour doing just fine again. He's definitely found his role. He is not playing a fragging operator, but he is absolutely fragging out with it. So good on him. He's even the diffuse carrier and still getting some of those early kills, which is a little bit risky, but seems to be paying off so far.
Yeah, managing to take down Yellow on that Rook. You still got to deal with those mirror windows, though, so the push is not viable just yet. Rainbow setting up seemingly to do just that, but he's going to have to deal with Echo in that elevator. EE1D will force these defenders to stand still before the Candelas offer a distraction over by the main stairs. And here comes the slow push. Sour seemingly has opened up the rest of that wall, and he's waiting for his opportunity to push. Talon from the the elevator will get his first kill before being immediately refragged by X. So Sinister still in it, but Nomads in the driver's seat right now as the second Excaros finally detonates. Billboard takes out X using a C4 from a range, and Rainbow just pushing into the site with relative ease. The Candelas into Meeting Hall are going to offer him a little bit of cover, and the Candela right in front of him will blind his opponent, who is also just on the other side of that wall. But he doesn't need to push. He wants to, but he doesn't have to. He knows that he just needs to cover for that defuse, which has been planted. Chap looking for a fight, but he's unable to find it. He's now the final defender as Sour gets a double kill, and he just walks by the Ying. He might actually work this to his advantage, though, if he just looks behind him. Nope, he's not going to do that. Rainbow will finish off Chap, as a little bit of a mistake there from the smoke. Potentially actually working to his favor, but not quite. And yet again, a round for Nomads.
Another good round for Sour, as I was talking about that initial kill from his, and then a double kill later, a 3K from the Thermite. That's the diffuse carrier. We were talking about them pushing in, for example, with Hibana as their entry fragger. Maybe their hard breachers are the fraggers on the team.
Seems that way.
Yeah, and you were questioning whether or not Thermite was going to be able to get away with opening up that wall. He certainly did as well, so yeah. Interesting. I like the way they were all laying down also in CEO. You saw an opportunity for the smoke to get both of them had they not been laying down, one behind the desk, one behind the wall, because he opened up the wall but couldn't see either of them. So smart play. The Candelas coming out, like you said, didn't necessarily have to be pushed because it was more to kind of delay for the diffuse plant. So good execution once they got control of CEO office, which those early Hibanas, I guess, helped establish that, not to mention the early frag from Sour as well. We'll see if they can fare as well on lockers again. They're going to go for that.
So, not a single victory on defense so far for Sinister. Seems to be the place that they struggle the most. They ended the first half victorious, 3-2 in their favor, but they have just not been able to make anything work for them here in this second half.
I guess that's what happens when your Thermite's just going around slaying everybody.
Yeah, Sour has really been standing up for a Nomads and, well, making his team win this match. Now, they're one round away from doing just that.
Well, we'll see if the adjustments here downstairs will work out. Like you said, they have yet to win any of these. They're not going to try and bring the clash this time on this defense. That didn't seem to do a whole lot for Billboard last time. But that attack was pretty back and forth.
See, the difficult thing about Clash is while she's really, really useful, and then definitely a good operator, if your team is unable to get kills, if they're getting torn apart, then she's not that great, to be honest.
Yeah.
If you're left in a situation like a 2 versus 4, 2 versus 5, and you're playing Clash, you're thinking to yourself, oh, great. This is not going to be easy.
I mean, on the upside, you can potentially spot for the other guy, but you're dependent entirely on the other guy to do the killing for you.
Yeah, it's just
not great.
It's too easy to isolate.
Yeah.
You know, you need to have a more dynamic relationship with your team as a Clash than just, hey, this one guy, you and me, let's go kill things.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do that, like in theory, like on a roaming duo type deal. That is, sure, viable. But even then, you're exposing yourself. So I think, yeah, you need to have a team backing you up to play Clash effectively. And sometimes that's just not going to happen. Drop downs opened up within a minute here for Nomads. So about the same as what we've seen from them in the past when clearing into that open area, trying to get pressure onto the basement. No resistance being put up by Sinister.
Yeah, and they're not going for garage push this time, which is good, because that was a little bit hairy, not their best take. But like you said, getting control of these hatches early on, first minute, that's a good start for that. If they can get server stairs as well, this execute could be pretty effective. Of course, they still have to worry about Chapstick smokes, which did get the kill last time onto Sour when you tried to go for that plant. Talon is playing that gold vault you were talking about earlier as the pulse as well, so they should have the timing on their side here. They don't have an echo that we saw, for example, from Nomads on that defense to also help with that, but either way, they have the utility to make this work if they can get the right intel from Talon.
He's definitely calling out that this is going to be a server push as the drop-downs have been opened up. That much is apparent for Sinister. Here come the Candelas to try and distract. They are actually just being used to bait things out. What a shot from Rainbow through the bars onto Cookies. EE1Ds and Candelas after the C4 missed, and the smokes are going to be too little too late. Nomads will get that defuse plant with relative ease. And does not look like Sinister are going to be in a good position to retake this. They're going to start moving their way up the main stairs. They know they have to retake the drop-downs if they want to then later take the actual site. But Thomas is watching that easy double kill through the melee hole. 2 of the Sinister players go down, and a third from X on the drop-down, leaving just Talon, and he is absolutely wiped off the table. A one-sided round, if I've ever seen one, from Nomads, and they will win map number 1, 6-3.
Good half indeed. They just destroyed on those attack runs. They didn't even get to go to a 5th one. Just excellent play all around on their attacks, and Sinister just seeming bamboozled in terms of that last attack, just getting caught off guard left and right by Rainbow and Thomas as well. Just
gotta say, bamboozled is the right word there. That was a pretty dominant round for Nomads, and I think a lot of it stems from how effectively they paced themselves when it comes to the plant and the counter plant. The C4, the gas canister, all the other potentially pieces of utility that the defenders are going to try and use in order to deny your plant were just danced around.
I gotta wonder about Talon playing in that gold vault, though. You saw him, for example, one time slip off his job to shoot a drone that was behind him in the vault, and that was a situation where Thermite was actually in position and got pushed off. He didn't catch it. And again, you saw him not get those smokes out at the right time from Chapstick, and it's a question of, was it Chapstick slipping on the smoke, or was it Talon slipping on the pulse callouts? Because we couldn't see either one of those, because they had the possibility of denying those plants. Sour always seemed to just be out of range of it, or denying it, or faking it out at the right time. And the Pulse, his sole job is to make sure that doesn't happen. Didn't seem to be the case. So either way, I mean, like I said, I don't want to necessarily put blame on one specific person, but it certainly looked like the coordination between those 2 players was not there that round.
And well, that's Bank, and map number 2, of course, will be Border. So we saw Border played earlier today. day when we had Apache versus Obey, and that was a very close map going all the way to 6-4. Of course, these are two very different teams, and I think they are very close in how they would typically play out. We did just see very nearly all 10 rounds for Bank, but only going to the 9. I think towards I think the second half was really just the biggest thing. Sinister did not know how to defend on that site, or on that map, on any of the sites that they went to. They only went to basement and top floor, basement 3 times, top floor once, but struggle every single round.
Yeah, it was a case where I almost felt like maybe they should just try open area at this point, because all the default stuff is just not working. I mean, to be fair, that was Nomads map pick. And I do wonder if attack is their dominant side, because they don't get to pick a side if they pick the map. So it could have been they just didn't start off as strong as they would have, had they started attack. But either way, Sinister, it makes me wonder why they let that map through with how they played it.
Yeah, it definitely was not great, but Border, of course, being their map pick, might change things up, might give them the advantage. We theorized at the beginning of this, we're probably going to see that map number 3.
Which is exactly why we won't, right? Which is why Nomads will just somehow destroy on Border.
Yeah, maybe coming off of the momentum that they gathered from the second half of that first map, they're just going to be like, hey, we're feeling good. We're in a position where we can get the frags, we can execute the strats, and we're going to make this Border work in our favor. I mean, Border is one of those maps that is not necessarily edged towards any team ever.
Yeah.
There are teams that are better than everybody else at Border. That's as there is with any map. However, it's so practiced across the board everywhere that it's hard for that to really exist. Now, we'll be loading into Border, and we'll have Sinister starting on attack teams, Nomads on defense.
So what I'm hoping to see here from Sinister is less reliance on yellow. From Nomads, we're seeing quite a few good players showing up, especially I want to highlight Sour and Thomas doing a fantastic. There goes Maverick. So he wasn't played at all last map, but still definitely not going to be played this map. But the reliance on yellow, and I don't mean like they were literally relying on him, but the fact that he was really the only one making huge impact plays for Sinister.
Yellow on attack was disgusting.
Yeah.
He was just tearing through people, and very impressive, yes.
And it's just the case where I needed to see that from the rest of Sinister, and we're not seeing that on attack or defense that last map. So if they can show up, more of them can show up this map, and maybe less of Nomads can show up, this could be Sinister's map finally. But they are going to go for that Lion Band. No surprise there. I believe we didn't see a mirror. Yeah, we didn't see a mirror, but no, we did on Border last time. What am I saying? The more typical.
Well, in the previous match, we saw a mirror ban.
Yeah.
Not in this one.
Yeah, I was just thinking it was the previous map that we just didn't see it last map. So most likely to be the last ban here to come out. And there it is.
Definitely a good call there. Valkyrie also being banned out on Border makes a lot of sense. All of these bans make sense for the map and for the teams involved. So we will see Sinister be back where they are most comfortable, which is that attacking side. The Nomads, on the other hand, are going to have to struggle through their defense as they did in the previous match. If they can manage to take out 2 rounds, you got to imagine they're going to be much more comfortable as they go on to attack.
Yeah, it definitely seemed to be the case on Bank, although, to be fair, that was also 4 attack rounds in a row once they switched sides, which was far from the case that we saw from Sinister. We will see them starting on Vents, though, interestingly enough, instead of Armory Lockers, so they will be going to a different side. And then a 6th pick from a Bandit to a Maestro. I feel like that's one of those, you don't usually see that kind of swap. I mean, I don't know, it just seems odd for some reason.
Well, the Bandit is to counter, of course, that hard destruction, all but Maverick, who has been banned out, that is. And, of course, the Maestro is just for that indirect denial, as much control as you can gather, and information, too. But also, speaking of unusual, a defense of ventilation as the primary bomb site. Looks like they're going to be going for an open area, an open bathroom strategy as well. Instead of reinforcing the wall, they're going to use the rotation holes from those impacts in the middle of the wall, too, instead of the far left.
That's an odd choice. I mean, I don't think it's a huge difference, but it's definitely a difference, and it could factor in to a small extent, but it is odd to see that be the choice to get that one instead of the far left one that you see there.
But the choice it be.
Yep.
Now, also the rotation hole into B, which is kind of, predictable.
Yeah, that is super typical.
And all these holes that are being opened up upstairs are very telling of, hey, we're going to hold on to Armory as long as we possibly can, because that's how they are going to choose to try and deny the defuse plant in the B bomb site. Now, it's a big risk, because when you open up those holes in Armory, you're also leaving yourself exposed. If the attackers should take Armory from you, then they now have full vertical control, and you've already gifted them the holes that they would need in order to deny your rotation back into B. Now, of course, with the amount of, or the copious amount of soft destruction that Sinister has, it's not really going to matter either way, but something to consider.
Yeah, definitely going to make a difference here. Like you said, a lot of soft destruction means they can get a lot of angles. That combined with the Capitao and the grenades is actually going to make for some good use of that vertical destruction that they're going to get from the soft destructors. And the lack of Bandit here to stop this means it's all going to be on Rainbow to try and hold this as long as he can. And if he's smart, fall back safely to site. If he gets overpressured and just give it up, burn as much time as he can. He's going to have some help from X as well, but they both fall off very quickly. Maybe a little too quickly. They probably could have done some pre-fires first just to make them have to drone it out more carefully, especially the small office. But either way, they're still alive, and that's the important part.
Grenade here from Yellow, looking to get the Maestro cam, but he's going to miss it. And now he's trying to get up as the sledge uses hammer to destroy that, but he can just shoot it. Oh, wow. This is,
he might die to this.
This is really, really not good for Yellow. He's lost. Even if he doesn't... Oh, no, the Legion Trap as well. Yellow on such low HP, and Sinister have managed to get control of the top floor, but at what cost to Yellow's dignity?
At this point, I got to imagine Yellow seeing red. That is just unfortunate for him. He's still alive, though, and able to open up at least the floor before he potentially dies. But Chapstick finding a kill into Sour early is good, just considering what we saw from Sour on Bank.
Yeah, but mostly Sour when he was switched over to attack.
To be fair, yeah.
On defense, he really wasn't doing a whole lot. He was helping, sure, but he wasn't standing out from the crowd.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about this earlier, those holes that were made, and now that the attackers can make are going to allow for such ridiculous amount of control for the attackers. If they want to push into B, they could do so with relative ease.
Well, it looks like they're considering that, and it looked like they're trying to decide whether or not to keep that castle barricade on the front door or open it up, because it does offer the possibility for some runouts even. In this case, they could actually encapsulate more of the B site. But at the same time, you might want to open it later just to be able to get some angles in once you go for the plant. But all this utility coming out to stop the plant, and Rainbow successfully getting a kill onto Talon.
After that kill, Sinister in a really good position, and you can hear the plant going down. Tom is cut down from above. Yellow, good positioning there. X will deny the initial plant on 0-0-0. There's no time for the attackers. Oh no, X, what are you doing? Fantastic play there. And what seemingly was a Sinister round will actually go the way of Nomads, thanks to X's good situational awareness.
Good call out from the Maestro as well, who was not able to get the kill. He called out the exact positioning, so you saw X just shoot that through the floor, or I mean go prone on the floor and shoot that through the wall, and that absolutely worked out, because had he not killed that defuse planter, of course, they probably would have got it, managed to get out the window, and that would have been a tough retake. So great execution and communication there. And we will be going up to Armory Lockers this time. As you said, though, giving up that top floor control definitely did cost them with those holes, because that could have gone Sinister's way.
Yeah, and it was thanks to those pre-prepared holes that was the case, as you remarked on. So, I mean, they would have opened them anyway, to be fair. But
yeah, with all the soft destructors like you mentioned.
Now, Armory Lockers, the next defense for Nomads. So they went to the abnormal, now they're going to the normal, and we'll see what they can do here. The fact that Nomads managed to win that previous round is really important, because as we talked about before, Nomads clearly are more comfortable on attack. If they can manage to get 2 rounds on defense, then going onto their attacking side, I'm sure they'll be much more comfortable.
Yeah, I definitely think Sinister probably didn't know that Nomads were going to be playing that as their first bomb site. That might have helped a little bit as well. They're going to read into this pick, though, as being the very likely second pick and have the proper utility for that. They are going to bring a Thatcher, which is going to help them get that wall open, because Sour is going to be playing that Bandit to try and stop that wall. And of course, they have the Zofia potentially to be able to open up the floor below him, and they can also huck grenades up from Yellow if they want to. So it's going to be a hard time here for Sour. If he can hold out fairly long against the Thatcher, great, but most likely he's going to have to fall off, and that wall, if they're being efficient on Sinister, should get opened within the first minute, and they should start to establish control of CCTV, like I said, if they're being efficient.
Big if there. It's not an easy thing to be. I mean, sometimes you get distracted by some things and everything starts to slow down for you as it, whether you be an attacker or defender, it can happen. As defense, it's a good thing though. You always want to waste that clock as much as possible. Now, this top floor hold, where they were defending the bottom floor and they had a lot of pressure upstairs, a lot of roamers and a lot of utility put up top. Here on the top floor, they're not really roaming much downstairs. Cookies is going to take out Rainbow, so that was a very early kill. The run out from the Jaeger, not seeing success, but Thomas will actually finally get the kill. Cookies goes down, and Legion supporting his teammate and understanding what was trying to be accomplished there.
Yeah, good read into the fact that he was at low health, as I imagine that was probably communicated. I imagine the Rainbow going, I lit him up, something like that. And just, going, Tomas, I can take him out. Let me finish the job there. So that makes it a nice trade. And that was, I'd say, a pretty good trade in favor of the defenders, though, taking out Zofia, as the Jaeger had mostly done his job already. So far, this is Nomad's favor, despite a little bit of damage on Thomas. We'll see, though. They are starting to open up this office wall. We were talking about what I said they'd be doing if they were efficient. Of course, that was assuming an A take. Instead, it looks like they're going for a very clear take onto the offices and archives. They have the setup for it, though, and that, again, is where the Thatcher and the Thermite will still be useful in trying to pressure that office wall. Unfortunately, though, for the sledge of Yellow, he could not get the hits he wanted, and then Chap going down. Sour going to finish that off, but Tomas did finally fall from that damage, and that makes it a 3v3, but again, still, I'd say maybe a little bit in the favor of the defenders here, especially now that the hard breacher is down. They can secure the archives a little bit better, assuming that you don't get a jump in from Talon.
It's a decent setup here, but they know they've got to deal with that bandit. The C4 at the worst possible moment from Sour, and Yellow will take him down. Nomads now have to fight tooth and nail to retake onto the B bomb site. X, as you can see, going to try pushing his way into the hallway and see if he can get a flank off onto these final three attackers. See, Billboard does not have a flank hold right now, and Yellow is also inside of the... Oh no, what is this? X, what are you doing? Wasting so much time. Yellow going to establish himself on the flank, but X wins the fight regardless. Through the wall, what a shot. The fuse plant has gone down on the B-bomb, and a retake now is going to be forced from the last two Nomads defenders. X, instead of going for the flank, is just going to try and confront these opponents directly. They know there's one on the north balcony, and Glitch is just overlooking the opponent right in front of his crosshair. The push from X, though, in the pre-fire, not able to bear fruit. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. A very confusing retake attempt from Nomads, and Sinister will completely collapse despite giving an abundance of opportunity to Nomads. None of those opportunities were seized upon.
Well, we were talking before about Sinister being sloppy. I would definitely label that attempted retake as pretty sloppy. They had the utility in terms of the firepower at least to be able to retake that. You saw the pre-fire attempts coming out from X. Yeah, he got the one kill from CCTV, but the rotate choice that he made to come in and just do a frontal assault with his teammate, not the right choice. He really should have been going for a flank into that office's door. Absolutely had the potential to work at that point. All they would have needed to do is worry about the one guy that was outside the window, and that's doable. That's a position that you can somewhat predict and control. I mean, it sometimes comes down to timing, but yeah, a bit of a misplay there from X, as well as some missed shots from the Bandit that could have worked. It's one round, but that was definitely not the greatest defensive round there from Nomads.
I mean, even more than that, there were some staring contests going on there for a little bit from Nomads. They had a lot of opportunities to just take out their enemies, and kind of a staggeringly large amount of situations where Nomads is unaware where their opponent is, where they really should be. So, I don't know. It's unlucky, is the word I would use to describe the play in that last round, but we'll see it equalize here 1-1. Sinister fighting back.
Yep. We'll see, though, if Nomads can continue some of the strength that they've had. As you mentioned, it'd be good if they could just get 2 rounds on defense. Will be enough of a start for them if they're as comfortable on attack on this map as they clearly were on Bank.
I mean, they might not be. For all we know, we could go on to the second half, and Nomads could be really not a border team. It's possible.
Well, in this case, Sinister should have a better defense because, I mean, it's my opinion, but I feel like you usually pick a map because you have a stronger defense on it, because that's the setup you can control the most of. I mean, yeah, you want to have great attack strats, you want to have good pushes and clears and things like that, but you can't, you have to adapt more as an attacker, whereas a defender, you can mostly control the setup. We'll see, though, if that will be the case once they go to the side switch, but Sinister so far, 50-50 on their attacks.
And they have control of East Stairs, which is a really good first step. They've done so efficiently, and they're just looking for...
That felt like the slowest rappel on Earth.
Well, I mean, it was just weird. I mean, he dropped down and then rappelled back up. I'm not sure what he was thinking, but a little bit of inefficiency. You know, time does really matter when you're on attack, and that can cost you. I mean, it's a little thing, right? It's like 4 seconds, but whatever the case.
Momentum.
Momentum. Speaking of momentum, X trying to establish some as he pushes into the main hallway. This is a very dangerous and aggressive push. It could bear fruit, but it also might result in his death. The spray onto the top of East Stairs will do some damage to Billboard, but equal damage being done to X. So a bit of an exchange there. No one really feeling amazingly better about the fights, and they both walk away bruised and bloodied.
Yeah, X really going to get picked up here is a big deal because he's a 3 armor. That 50 HP that's left means a little bit more than it would if he was a little bit lighter. And Billboard also needing a reset here. A lot of resets coming out this round, but Cookie's at least finishing the kill now onto X, and that's going to be a big kill going into this. Now they just need to get Sour.
And there's going to be a finally, yeah, X being finished off, as you said. That's an important kill. Sour, as you talked about, in the linchpin position, where if he dies here, then there's not a lot of denial still available for Nomads, especially after Maestro has been finished off. The Evil Eye can still be used for information, but it cannot be used to deny a plant. Sour's position well given away, and the Capitao possibly with a Firebolt might be able to finish him off in that corner. We'll see. Talon's going to take out Thomas, so it's looking better and better for Sinister right now as they continue to collapse on the site. Billboard gets Sour as Sour vaults onto the north balcony, but Rainbow from below with the C4 will get the yellow. So at least a little bit of damage done to Sinister. And Rainbow finally being shut down. It's just Glitch as the final defender. Attempting to rotate into the main hallway. He might be able to catch an opponent off guard, and yes, indeed, he does. That's Talon. He looks for more angles. He'll get a nice shot onto Billboard. Only 2 more targets left to go. But they know where Glitch is, and they know Glitch is on half HP. So this is still theoretically winnable for Nomads, but it's going to be all on Glitch's shoulders. As an individual player, he's been standing out a lot today. But can he really make it happen here and now? He's going to have to check deep inside of office to detect the Habana, who's hiding behind those PC walls. And he will vault it at the wrong moment, but Chap with his own vault. Look at that, through each other. Chap will come out on top. What a reaction and an odd engagement, to say the least.
I'm glad we got to see that kill cam as well, that from Chap's point of view.
Yeah, it was peculiar.
Well, I mean, I feel like that was a very good attempt by Glitch, though. He definitely tried to make it work.
Certainly a good attempt, but not enough in the end. And Sinister getting 2 rounds early on here. Nomads, like we talked about, they just need to get 1 or 2 more, and they're going to be very comfortable in the second half, but it seems like they're going to be struggling hardcore on Armory. Now they'll be going back to ventilation, but I got to say, how close was that ventilation defense, really? They barely won it. So, I don't know. It's not looking good for Nomads.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, I think the biggest problem was giving up the top floor too quickly. It gave them time to set up for that execute that they did onto the B side, which, did take them a while to set up for. You saw them kind of indecisive on what they wanted to do about the castle barricades. How do we want to attack this? Do we want to go for B, or do we want to pressure from another side? So, I was talking about at the beginning of that round, that first round, when they just needed to stay alive longer, but they did need to stay alive, to be fair. Although Jaeger can somewhat be expendable upstairs, as long as he's able to get a kill or burn enough time. But they just fell away almost immediately and just gave it up. And that was, I think the mistake that made that round such a struggle. But either way, they did win it, so there is that. And this is the one bomb site they have won. So going back to it, of course, makes sense because they defended the other bomb site 2 rounds. So now they finally can. But that's not what you want to defend on, right? Is defending what is normally the secondary bomb site only. we'll see if Tomas is a... Oh, no, he didn't stick it. I thought he was going to leave it up there because we saw what a problem that was for Yellow last time trying to get that Evil Eye. Not going to be stuck up there this time, though.
Ultimately, Nomads won this round last time because of SiNister's poor time management. And if SiNister can correct this, then it might not be an issue in this round. Also, as you talked about, the defense on the top floor from Nomads was very lackluster. They just fell away as soon as there was any sign of pressure, and that's extremely dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you don't have to take the engagements, but pre-fires through the soft walls are enough to make them think twice about entering, right? Because anytime they have to stop and drone, that is time that you get on that defense, right? That is time that can help you in those final seconds and don't potentially cost you anything other than a few bullets. I mean, yeah, maybe they can get a lucky shot back, but chances of that when you're just pre-firing before you drop a hatch is most likely going to work in your favor. They are going to still be playing this. They are getting set up to potentially drop the hatch soon, but thankfully for Rainbow, he was able to survive what could have been an easy kill from Cookies.
Yeah, those are the types of opportunities that you really want to seize if you're Cookies. Somebody just holding an angle like that is basically a free kill, but it just did not happen. Yellow will take out Thomas, so that's a really good kill. At least SiNister do manage to establish a lead, and onto the Maestro of all operators. We've seen this before, Maestro being the first one to die for Nomads. You really don't want that to happen, but here it has.
Well, in this case, though, they did only lose one. They managed to fall off, and they managed to burn a minute and a half. But losing the Maestro was not the best one to lose. I always feel like losing the Jaeger might be a little bit better unless the Jaeger's going to go for a late roam and take advantage of his 3 speed to come around on them, which is his biggest asset along with his gun, which has been buffed slightly due to the recoil changes. So he can be very effective at longer angles now, even without that ACOG, but he's got to make use of it here by the fact that he's alive. Evil Eyes were at least still set up, although it looked like Thomas took a while to decide where to put them. Yellow getting down there by Rainbow, though. As I was just talking about the Jaeger, he does manage to get traded off, though, by Cookies.
Important trade there to keep the lead in SiNister's favor. Nomads, though, have managed to, if nothing else, take one body off the board for SiNister, and that's a very also important kill, as they have seemingly been struggling after the pushes come in the last dying seconds of the round. Speaking of dying seconds of the round, we're coming down to the last 30, and SiNister have yet to actually make their final push. They've got their lane opened up using that Habana, and they've got control over Bathroom. They've got to push through the gas canisters, though. They're using smokes to try and cover their push, but X has managed to make his way upstairs. Now, there is an attacker up here with him, and that's Talon, who will deny the denial of the defuse plant. But oh, what's this? Yet again, on the dying seconds of the round, the defuse plant has been denied due to Sour's excellent positioning. And a flick from Sour will also secure the kill onto Cookies. Another round here for Nomads.
Definitely a good one from Sour. Great play by him. They burned those smokes, not necessarily too early, but they didn't have enough of them to be able to firmly deny the plant despite those 2 alleys being open that they knew were going to be pushed in. So the fact that he was able to sneak around there, just lack of coverage from teammates in terms of getting that defuse down, because he kind of he had a distance to close to get to that position and no one there to stop him. I mean, a great read by Talon getting that kill on X upstairs, but just lack of coverage of the defuse planter is really what ultimately cost them. Even if that other guy had been at the door earlier on, probably would have been enough to potentially stop Sour. But great play by him, and that's that second round that we were talking about for Nomads, and that ties it up here. So whoever can get this last round, of course, goes into the second half with the point advantage. Ooh, Echo, there we go.
Echo, definitely a good 6 pick there. Vigil, an excellent operator, but Echo, I think we can both agree, indispensable.
Especially on this bomb site, maybe more so than the bottom one.
Definitely. Considering the way that SiNister has been attacking this, I think Nomads really wants to have that indirect denial because they've been struggling with holding either of their bomb sites, really, on this top floor.
Yeah, I mean, at least they're 2 for 2 on vents, but unfortunately they can't play that again on this last one. So this is where they need to learn from what they were doing wrong. They didn't seem to learn when it came to open area on bank, despite playing it 3 times. So we could see a repeat of that in the case that, again, they go in with only 2 points because they continue to repeat a bomb site that they cannot win. But if they can win it, that's a big deal for Nomads, I think, for the second half. As you said, they may be much more comfortable on attack, and coming in with that early lead, you know, they may not get 4 attack rounds in a row again, but that still would be a nice start for them. We'll see if this, especially if this Echo can stay alive longer, that'll definitely be a big factor, as they don't have a smoke.
Thomas has been dying really early on in a lot of these rounds on defense, so would be excellent for that, for the backup of the Yokai drone.
Yeah, definitely going to be a big deal. Like I said, no smoke means it's really on him, and he's going to have to find a good hiding spot and be on top of it. But he also has to have a lot of good timing is really the key to playing Echo right, because you need to know when to come off it and start, you know, helping your teammates out. You need to know when to switch to your second drone and how to manage both of those. There's a lot of skill to Echo, and I think that's something that we sometimes overlook, is how much skill is involved in playing him, how much multitasking you're doing.
Yeah, he is the information king of defense. But not everybody can really pull him off. It's not as easy as some other operators in terms of information gathering.
I mean, luckily for Sour, you know, he's got his beat jammers up. All he needs to do is
what
put
a
C4,
nade.
but yeah, that's gonna hurt.
Perfectly placed from Yellow will do half damage to X and down Sour, who is also now going to be on 50 HP as a result. He did not follow it up with a second. Could have been an easy double kill, but it's not to be.
Well, that is unfortunate. He really could have, had he gone for that second one and been able to pull that off, he might actually be able to get 2 kills out of it, because he might have been able to finish off X along with getting the kill on Sour. So unfortunate for Yellow, who looked like maybe stunned there by the Echo drone. A little revenge from X. Ooh.
Sour on very low HP. As you can see that SiNister is applying a lot of pressure from the open Habana hole in that wall. Cookie's looking to apply some pressure from outside, possibly going for a repel later, and trying to pinch onto the Nomads defenders.
Yeah, it looks like he's a little indecisive where he wants to approach from, but it is going to go up to the window. Yellow does finally finish off Sour with a second nade, though it took a while, but he did the job. Now it's going to be on X to stay alive so he can slow down this plant as much as possible, because that flank coming out from Archive's window is going to start to distract them a little bit here. Actually, it's going to go on to Sandwich window instead.
You can see the repel there over by Sandwich in the smokes to try and cover for the plant. This is a really well-coordinated push right now from SiNister. The Yokai drone's still in play, but it's not going to deny the defuse plant. The marks are happening, which is going to force Habana to move, but still no death to that Habana. Rainbow and Thomas get their own kills, and Nomads have somehow managed to get the man advantage. With the Yokai still in play, the defuse plant is continually being denied, but Cookies and Repel will get Rainbow before Glitch is able to refrag him. The push from Thomas will be shut down by Chapstick. Yellow still in a really good position covering for that defuse plant, but the Yokai drone still in play. What is going on right now? X could deny this outright by himself. It seems it's finally been destroyed, but it might be too late. No, the TK from X. This is not happening right now. He knows where his 2 targets are, but he's not able to land the shots. And as he goes wide, it's looking worse and worse. Yellow and Chap both just waiting for the opportunity to get this frag. X on low HP, and he's checking all the wrong corners. The game sense is not with this Echo in this moment of time. He knows where the Habana is, but he doesn't know where the sledge is, and it doesn't matter. Even the Habana is able to get the kill. SiNister will take it 3-2 in the first half.
Oh, I wanted to give X so much credit for that round, for potentially saving it with his great Echo play, and then he goes and team kills.
Big whoops there.
It happens, though. I mean, it happens to the best of us, but it's definitely a case where it's going to cost them a round that they, in theory, might have been able to win, although they would have won it because of X, probably. So, you know, he giveth, he taketh away. They are going to go into it, at least with the 2 rounds that we were talking about for the second half. Fortunately, it looks like we are going to have to rehost for that second half again. So let's consider these perpetual tactical timeouts for teams on these round switches. I imagine we might also have to take a break for how long that takes. But either way, we will be getting into the second half of this somewhat shortly. And hopefully we could see some good back and forths and not a sweep like we saw last map.
Yeah, that round, man, that round is really disappointing for Nomads. SiNister managing to end it the same way they ended the first half of the first map. So
good point.
It's the exact same score. The orientation of the rounds were a little bit different, but still, Anyway, that does mean that we might see this yet again go completely in favor of Nomads once Nomads switches to attack.
Well, if it does, then that's it. No map 3.
Yeah,
so it's
no
on
map 3.
Sinister.
Somehow I doubt that, though. I have to imagine that we're going to be going to Oregon as our map number 3. I know that Sinister is very comfortable on board, obviously, because it's their map, so it's a given, right?
Well, they're going into their map pick on the second half with a point advantage, so.
Yeah, and Nomads, of course, this isn't their map pick, so there's not going to be that same familiarity that they had with Bank, but
it's not a new map,
border,
though. Yeah,
man.
It's
not border, so I can't imagine that they're not going to be they're not going to be uncomfortable, or that they are going to be uncomfortable. Pardon, but you know what I mean. It's probably going to favor Nomads in the end as they go to the second half, even though they did not get the win. So here we go. We're back into the match after that brief rehost.
We are seeing both teams actually wanting to bring Tokabi on this map, as well as Yellow actually sneaking in that Vigil. We'll see if Billboard can be as effective on Echo, though, as X was. But we also saw a repeat of Bank in so many ways, even going down to them playing the same bomb site 3 times in a row, or not in a row, but 3 times, and losing it 3 times. For the thing. So it seems like there's always one bomb site they're just bad at. But Cookies, the first to get slayed, great start getting that early kill. It wasn't the most important early kill, but that's certainly going to be one good fragger off the board. And is now going to be down to both a Smoke and an Echo. Now they've brought both, something that we didn't see from Nomads.
Yeah, and ultimately it's just a free kill there. That's really that's what was happening with Nomads when they were attacking on Bank as well. They were just getting a lot of frags just out of nowhere. So that might be telling of the future of this round and this match as a whole. Yokai Drone also immediately eliminated as it's been spotted out. Billboard with not the best positioning there.
No, he shouldn't have been moving it out in the open like that.
Kind of wonder how many people missed that match we had earlier in Europe where Leon Gids was putting it on the lockers back there.
Yeah.
I mean, that spot was so powerful. How is it not being utilized? I think Billboard actually might be on it right now.
Ooh.
So we'll see if that plays a part in the coming round. It might be the linchpin that keeps Sinister in this round.
Well, it's definitely going to be something that they need despite the point advantage, because this attack is still going fairly well. Still a minute left. They have not lost anyone on this attack. They've nearly gotten a second kill there. Almost taken down Chala. Now a lot of the smokes have already been burned, and the plant is going down.
The Yokai Drone has actually missed. What has just happened? Glitch will get a Claymore kill as well. Oh no, Billboard.
Wow.
You can't let it happen like that, man. Rainbow takes down Bill as well, so the Yokai Drone's no longer in play. They'll give information, but nothing more. Talon trying to peek wide, looking for a fight, but look how safe Nomads is playing. X will shut him down behind half wall. The push from Smoke will also be eliminated. Chap does get a kill, but it's low impact as Glitch finally finishes him off. Nomads.
What a shutdown.
What an attack onto the Armory.
I'm thinking maybe your faith in their attacks was not misplaced.
At least, I mean, if that one round is gonna dictate the rest of this match, then yeah, it's all but over.
That was definitely good. I mean, that just evens it up. To be fair, it's not a situation where Sinister is suddenly losing.
But the cascade we saw in the previous map, will it happen here? Because it certainly looks like it.
We're seeing a lot of repeats. Now, in this case, Montaigne was not banned on this map, so Nomads is actually going to bring it. Now, they were the one to ban it last time on Bank as well, which is interesting. But
I guess just giving dues to the operator itself.
In this case, though, 6 picking off and just messing with Sinister's mind.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, Monty. It could have been a Monty versus Clash situation too, but not going to happen now.
I played against that guy in ranked. Yeah, I played against that guy who just got banned in ranked like 2 days ago. Bye-bye.
Rip.
That's nice to see.
Yeah.
Have you noticed actually recently? So remember like 2-3 months ago we had a huge crisis with all the cheaters, and then like it's like they're gone now.
Yeah, like somewhere around Grim Sky it seemed like just slaughter of them.
Just evaporated, man.
It's nice to see. I mean, it comes and goes in waves, but great to see that we're continuing to keep this game clean and fun.
Thanks, Ubisoft.
Thank you.
Sinister now going to the Armory again. So they're not going to be rotating to ventilation. They've chosen to stick it out. I think it makes sense that they would do that given that they lost that last round. on a lot of little mistakes that can be corrected. The Yokai drone play in Armory was unfortunate. Billboard has, as such, rotated to Clash. And then also some free kills were given to X in the early stages of the round. These things are correctable.
What's funny, though, is we're, again, even seeing more of a repeat. Because if you think about it, the failed first round on Bank for Sinister on defense was also on a Lockers site.
Yeah.
And it was also Clash involved. Although in this case, it's the second round. But it's like, you know, the rhyming, the repeating here is it's always funny to see when it technically has no reason to repeat itself. But that's, of course, you know, it's not a foregone conclusion whatsoever. But Capitao, certainly a great counter to Billboard here. If he lands this shot here, that's going to do a lot of damage. And he's certainly going to land a little bit. Not a ton, though. At least he has one more arrow to work with, but that's going to force Bill right on off that door.
You can see Talon is active bandit tricking, and he has managed to take, I believe, one of those thermite charges. This might be able to get a second one. There is a narrow piece of land there for him to use, but Sour will cover effectively, and Talon will fall back behind Lockers. The safe call there for Talon and Sinister as a whole, but also a little bit of potential lost. If they had been able to deny that A-wall, then they might have had a much easier go of this round. But I think they're going to be relying on Billboard, using that Clash to try and apply the pressure and deny the outright push.
Well, we'll see. They are starting to open up some angles. He hasn't used, or no, he has used his other Firebolt. So that means Billboard's actually going to be a lot less counterable now, which is definitely going to be a little bit of a problem. They can take advantage of Sour's concussion grenades fired out to do some damage to him. But Bill is going to be a little bit of a thorn in their side, although Yellow is certainly not going to be at this point. Tomas, the first to fall to Bill there. Great kill. And he's going to go right back on the prowl.
Another one as well for Talon. Sour eliminated, but what is going on? The diffuser is being planted. Such a distracted defensive force as they attempt to flank, and X will actually get a kill after planting the diffuser. Glitch gets Cookies holding the flank, and the Clash is not enough to cover these defenders. It's just Chap and Bill, but Bill gets another kill as X finally shuts down Chap in the site. It's not enough for Bill to clutch it out, and Nomads will win, playing the objective pure and simple.
Yeah, that roam from Bill, while fun, was not as effective as he would have liked because he was taking two people off the site defense in that case. Because you mentioned earlier, when you're in a 2vX or whatever and you've got a Clash, it's not a great situation to be in because you're depending on that other person. That's exactly what happened. I mean, he did manage to get some damage going, but yeah, it was just not the right situation.
Bill was one of the most lethal operators on that defense as a solo, right?
True.
And he had the support from his teammates, but damn, it's just not enough, man. It's not enough.
Yep. Well, they're going to try Lockers one more time here.
Third time's the charm.
Right. I mean, in theory, they could keep going until they lose completely, but they're definitely going to try it again this time with Billboard back on the Echo, which is better than what we saw with Clash, although at least he didn't fall victim to Capitao, which was good. I mean, I got to imagine he saw him from the doorway and knew that was potentially coming. It was more just trying to bait out that fire arrow at that point. But there is going to be the Capitao again this time, though. No Clash to shoot with it. However, they did a decent job of dealing with the Echo last time, as Bill just couldn't hit from that second one. You were talking, hyping up that Leon Gitz spot, and it didn't even work.
That's not necessarily the fault of the spot, is it?
No, it is certainly not. But it just shows you can't just copy what another player does and get instant success.
Right. Something that needs to be practiced, and I'm sure that it will be after this. Sinister going into this were definitely the ones expected to be victorious. I think this would the match is. You're looking at this and you're anticipating it going all the way. You're thinking, okay, yeah. Oregon, but you're also thinking in the back of your head, Sinister, they've got so much more experience, and many of their players have pro league experience. Yeah. Whereas you look at Nomads, and these guys, a lot of these names are just not as well known, and it's because they haven't been around for as long. They don't have that experience.
Well, they're certainly making themselves known now.
Oh, heck yeah, man! This is a really stellar performance from Nomads. It's very impressive. You know, I'm thinking about it now. I'm trying to think about who I'm going to be nominating for the MVP, and it's hard. It's hard, man. There's so many different names on Nomads that could be selected.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the case where Nomads are, like I was talking about that before, where Nomads, a lot of their players are showing up, whereas we're not seeing that same level of equality from Sinister. I haven't seen these moments where, like, I'm seeing round after round of multiple people on the team just being like, oh, well, Cookie's had a lot of great kills, and then Chala had some great kills, and then Talent. It's just been, like, some one-offs, it seems like, from a lot of these guys. But either way, I mean, it's not like they're way behind at this point.
Not really sure what the purpose was behind the smoke. I gotta imagine it was a mistake, but maybe he's just trying to bait someone into the peak. I mean, that would make sense with the pre-fires. Either way, some wasted utility there for Thomas.
Yeah, smoke grenades are a little more valuable than that use right there. There definitely could have been something to that strategy that we just weren't seeing. There was the deployable shield there, and that might have been part of what he was trying to deal with. But nonetheless, it didn't seem to have whatever its intended goal was, as he didn't really get much out of it, sadly. But he still has one left, so hopefully he's going to make that other one count. They did open up the offices wall here, though, instead of trying to take from the front. Smart of Nomads to try and change things up a little bit, though, because, of course, Sinister are trying to refine what they were doing, so Nomads are going to undermine that by just switching up their attack strategy.
And pushing from the offices is definitely a solid attack strategy, especially considering there's nobody in B.
Yeah.
So as soon as Nomads manages to open this wall, they will probably read that, oh, hey, it's free. Talon's in the hallway, and he's trying to lay down some fire to be a little bit destructive on this take, but still, he's not able to deny the plant in the middle of the site. Oh, I spoke too soon. Talon will actually get the kill. Great positioning here. And amazing that he hasn't been killed yet. He will get a second one, and Cookies will get the third. So Nomads have been completely swept under the rug as Yellow takes out Rainbow, leaving just Glitch alive. A perfect round for Sinister. Despite the fact that there was no one in B, they managed to hold B from the hallway.
Well, we won't see the sweep this time, thankfully. Great plays by Talon, though, that round. You were thinking even he wouldn't pull certain things off. He was missing some shots potentially on the window in offices, and still managed to make it work in the end. So great play by him as they finally win lockers, and very confidently so. It's we see why maybe Nomads weren't going for that attack earlier, despite the advantage they had in that it wasn't being covered. But the quick swing around with the ACOG on that LMG is so destructive. We'll see how they fare on customs, though. This is not... I personally think this bomb site is not great, just because there's so few teams successfully winning it without that mirror. And I think there was even one time where it wasn't banned and still not used and then lost. It's a struggle of a site to defend at times. It's not that it isn't without tons and tons of potential. I'm not seeing it realized often. Seems it reminds me a lot of open area on Bank.
No, I agree. I think it definitely doesn't see as much success as other sites, but it's viable.
Absolutely. To
the point where you can make it work.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with Sinister's choice to try and do this, though.
Yeah,
I think
it's better.
Knowing Nomads, or watching the way that Nomads has been playing, I'm expecting them to see this site and just go for an isolate passport, thermite the wall that's being highlighted right now, and go for the plant. Now, clearly, Sinister is accounting for that. They've got the barbed wire set up for it. They got the grenades, the ADS set up for it. They've got everything really set up to hold that corner, and I'm sure they'll have a lot of
Bandit or Mute, though.
Yeah, for this moment, and I'm sure they'll open up some holes above that default plant spot. But even if that's not what Nomads go for, I'm thinking they're going to be able to find a way to isolate somewhere and plant with relative ease. That's one thing that's really stood out for me for Nomads is they're very good at playing the objective.
Yeah, and that is the name of the game, and that's why so far they're coming out ahead. It's a tied score right now, but they came out ahead on the first map, and they have the potential to here if they can exploit. And like you said, just kind of read and play for the objective, because the objective is being left somewhat open, and depending on fighting it from above, in a case where they're not doing a whole lot to really slow down a push. And of course, X is just going to walk right up and open jail first, and then rotate around. They are going to have, I imagine, clear passport fairly quickly, and he can get set up for that once he's done droning. Unless they just want to play for A for some weird reason.
I mean, it's not defended directly right now. There are a lot of players above it who will be denying those pushes, but there's no one actually in A right this minute. An interesting fight here Rainbow is trying to find against Chap. It's not going to be necessarily very easy, but he knows there's an opponent directly above him, and he's looking for his opportunity. Rainbow's in a great position, to be honest. If he can make this turn into a kill or two, it could easily get the round. Missing the Yokai drone, though, Bill will spot out Rainbow and call it to his teammate, but Yellow decides to use the shift button instead of the mouse 2 button, and he will meet his death because of it. Now, these positions from Nomads continue to get better and better. The only thing they have to worry about is that vertical pressure, but it doesn't seem to be that bad. As Sour takes out Billboard, Talon will refrag onto Sour. And it's not all over here for Sinister, but they've lost a lot of control of their own site.
Yeah, it's definitely the case where they've, maybe they've spread out a bit too much, but Talon seems to be the only one really holding this off at the moment.
Yeah.
He's gotten both the kills so far.
And he was the one to really stand out in the previous round. So it all seems to be on Talon's shoulders right now. The question is, will he be shut down, or will he be able to deny plant after plant after plant? The Castle of Cookies looking to deny his own plant here from above using these holes, but he will be lit up in the process. X is very exposed as he plants the diffuser, but it looks like it will actually not go down. X finished off by guess who? Talon, and another for Talon, the 4K for the player. He is absolutely on fire right now. Glitch, the final attacker, gonna push up these main stairs, trying to address that Maestro finally, but it's not gonna happen. Talon shutting down Nomads.
With the ace and 2 of the kills, at least, from the Bailiff, nonetheless.
Very impressive for him. And if it weren't for Talon, they would have lost the last round too. He was playing in the hallway. Sinister just could not do without this player right now.
Absolutely. Talon is the yellow of this map, I guess.
It seems so.
So, well done. They are finally going to go to vents after successfully defending customs there. But I still think that was a good take by Nomads. They just couldn't seem to fight Talon upstairs to get that extra pressure that they needed. Maybe a little too much committed to downstairs. They needed a little bit more pressure above to stop them from being able to look down. They were very close to getting that plant down, though. Had they been able to do that, they would have forced a lot of hard rotates for the defenders, and they might have been able to win that despite Talon's kills. There's a sneaky 6 pick for both players. So Billboard's going to go onto the Pulse instead of the Echo. He has been exposing his drones quite a bit, so maybe that's a good choice for him.
Yeah, in that last round, as much as it was impressive that Talon managed to put in so much work, it also was entirely Nomad's fault that was allowed to happen. All throughout that round, Nomads had the opportunity to plant, and instead they chose to be a little bit too concerned with where they were planting. Definitely overthinking the way they were playing the round, and it would have been nice to see them just, make a concerted effort to get the diffuser down, but they chose to plant in probably the worst possible spot.
Yep. Well, either way, they're not out yet, but they've got to get a point just to go to overtime at this point. If not, then of course we go to map 3 as soon as this round is over, if Sinister can take it. So far, they've been doing pretty good after losing those first 2 rounds. It just seems like Glockers was their big struggle. But who knows, maybe they'll struggle on vents as well, and we'll end up in that overtime situation, and depending on who gets what side, could see a comeback again from Nomads.
Yeah, I mean, I really expected them, or by them I mean Nomads, to have won that last round. It seemed like they had it. Ultimately, it's just one man to stand against the tide, I suppose. Of course, again, that being Talon. Now, Nomads are going to start opening up the jail wall. So basically, when you open this up, you can then move your way over to storage, which is the adjacent room. And from storage, you can apply a lot of pressure to the site itself. And you're also going to see Rainbow using one of his Ash charges to open up the passport wall. So all these crossfires being established for Nomad to try and push Sinister back into the site. And they've been pretty successful in that endeavor.
We'll see if they can actually continue that pressure, though, because, yeah, you should corral them up like fish in a barrel, but of course they start to become caged animals at that point as well. Sour going to be the one to actually take that out, so it's good that he spotted that Evil Eye, though it looks like he's actually reconsidering for a second there and wants to make sure he's not going to get taken advantage of while doing it. In the meantime, vertical pressure also going to potentially come out from Thomas there, who is upstairs with that buck, so they've got a lot working for them here. But like I said, they're just mostly getting forced back to site because they haven't gotten any of those important kills yet.
See the pulse of Billboard in a good position to gather information for his team, but he's actually going to fall off of it. It's a good position, but it was also somewhat dangerous. X is going to get a kill, as X does, onto Chapstick. He's been fragging out a lot as this Thermite, really very noticeably. And Rainbow's going to start pushing his way up the main stairs. There's an opponent, I believe, inside of Archives, which is a dangerous position to take into. As Billboard takes out X, though, the fragging power for Nomads is lessened. You can see Cookies has been lit up, so it's not all lost for Nomads. They still got a little bit of a hedge in terms of HP, and they're also going to be pushing their way into Armory as well as the main hallway. Rainbow seeing his opponent, but not registering the head of the Pulse. Thomas upstairs is going to take down Talon for whipping out the Skeleton Key and looking for more fights. Billboard, another kill for him. That's 2. Now 3 for Billboard in the round. Yellow's going to take Thomas, so it's just Rainbow now in a 1 versus 3. Billboard has been downed. And there's still a lit Cookies, so this is possible for Rainbow. But he's got to deal with Yellow first. For some reason, an oversight there. Rainbow walked right on by the diffuser, which was down on the floor. And now he's looking to fight his opponent on the top floor with only 17 seconds. Oh no! He saw Yellow and he finally shut him down, but now he has no time. He's given himself away to Cookies, but Cookies does not seize the opportunity. And this might actually be an attempted plant. What is going on right now? What are you doing, Rainbow?
Why did you
I have no idea what I just witnessed. An attempted clutch, but ultimately a thrown round from Nomads, and that's 3 thrown rounds in a row. They had the map, and they just gave it back to Sinister.
He could have planted almost anywhere at that point. He could have just planted at that desk in B and been in such a good spot to play the windows or all kinds of angles.
I mean, I guess the reason he didn't do it is because he couldn't know where his opponent was. There was an Evil Eye still in B.
Just hoping to frag it out, I guess.
You know, which would have called out the information, but still, yeah, honestly, planting the threshold of the doorway of B. You don't have time, man. You just don't have time. I mean, even if you sprint into the other site and you see your enemy, you're still mid-sprint. There's no opportunity for you to stop running and then try to fight.
Yeah, I got to imagine he's probably hearing a lot of grief from his teammates as well in terms of what were you doing, why weren't you planting? Decisions are made.
You know, it's not only his fault, though.
No, not at all. Decisions are made. He made the best call that he thought he could. It just didn't work out. But the nice thing for them is it's not over. We still have another map. They could take it, and all is forgiven at that point, I imagine.
Absolutely. So this is what we all expected to see, that map number 3 between Sinister and Nomads. Of course, that will be Oregon.
Yeah, it definitely got close to maybe not happening, but it seemed like the sweep didn't end up happening after all. It was, again, 2 points for Nomads on both sides, attack and defense. So I guess, I mean, it makes sense. It was the map pick of Sinister. Now we don't really know whose map this is because, of course, neither team directly picked it. So it's a case of it was the leftover map, so both teams are comfortable on it, but neither team prefers it over the other. So it's a case where we could see one of the teams come out ahead at the beginning and switch around. But as you mentioned, this is a very expressive map. We could see a lot of different plays happening and maybe a little bit more variety and less repeating the same sites over and over.
Yeah, no. Oregon is, I mean, you got the 2 sites and then you've got 2...
Yeah, it's very true.
Whatever those are.
Yeah, there's...
So, Oregon's going to be, I think, a lot more static than Border and Bank combined. But also, as you said, expressive in that you can do some different things. There's opportunity for some fun stuff to be brought out on this map, but it can be exceedingly rigid. It just depends on the teams that are playing it and the opportunities that are left open, the opportunities that are forced out.
Yeah. And we also don't know who's going to be going on what side first. Is they're going to go for a coin flip for it because they don't get to decide ahead of time. So that could work out in favor of either team, although I got to imagine neither of these teams are necessarily going to know too much about which is going to be the advantage against the other. They're just going to hope to get their preference in terms of a side. And then, of course, the operator bans should be interesting because they've so far been interesting from these 2 teams. So I imagine they'll continue to be so. They aren't as wacky as the Blackbeard bans, I suppose, from that we saw from earlier from Apache. But
yeah, those did not work out great.
No, that was not great.
But yeah, the operator bans that we've been seeing so far today from both of these teams have made a decent amount of sense. Sinister banned Jaeger on Bank, which is about the most confusing thing that happened. But of course, that was just them trying to lean heavy into grenade play on attack, the Candelas and stuff like that. And yeah, no, that did not work. But we will be moving to Oregon, and Nomads will be starting themselves off on defense, it seems.
I imagine we'll be going to Laundry first, but you never know. Some teams like to start on Dorms as well. Obviously, we've got to get the operator bans out of the way first before we even get to that. But
yeah,
this should be interesting between these two teams because with the back and forth that we've seen on both of their maps, I have a feeling either this will lean very heavily to one team and be maybe more of a sweep than we saw on the other two maps, or this will be even more back and forth than we saw on the other two because of the fact that neither team prefers this map, and it's just kind of this very scrappy, trying to adapt to each other as much as possible.
We have seen that before. If you're on a map that you're uncomfortable on, and your enemies are also uncomfortable on a map, then it can be a bit of a slog. And usually we'll see, for example, just nothing but defensive wins. Continuous defensive wins.
Because they can burn time.
Because you burn time, you wait. You know, it's not complicated to set up a rudimentary strategy if you're not comfortable on it.
True.
But then again, this is Oregon. It should be well practiced by both squads.
It's an original map. I mean, Border was introduced later, not too much later, but this has been here since the beginning, and nothing's changed on it.
Border's technically a DLC map, but it is, I think, it's
old school.
It's old school, yeah.
I mean, a Yacht would be the only thing older that's as far as DLC, but we're not quite seeing that in Pro League.
Yacht almost doesn't exist in Siege anymore. I mean, I guess it doesn't exist.
All right, well, we hopefully will be getting into Oregon here soon, so we can focus on the match here. Well, Kix thinks about that last one and why he's here right now.
Yeah, Oregon. So Oregon, looking forward to it. We're definitely going to have an interesting lineup. So the cool thing about it is that if we do see what we were just theorizing, which was maybe both teams are very comfortable on. Maybe it goes entirely defensive sided, right? If that's the case, then we're going to see a lot of tower and a lot of kitchen, or at least one or the other.
Yeah.
And that's because if it's everyone's winning on defense, then you're going to the basement, you're going to the top four, you win-win, and then you have to do one of the off sites because of that 3-site rotation.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that with their long history, that Sinister should be comfortable on this map.
I'm sure.
This is a map that's been played a ton. It was never one that was like, we'll play it sometimes. Bank is more that one than this map, for sure. So operator bans might be a bigger influence on uncomfortableness than map itself.
And here we go. We're going to load on in. Sinister on attack. Nomads on defense. 1-1 in this best of 3. And Oregon, the final station on the tracks. Nomads banning first, and they've so far banned Montaigne and Maverick. Who are they going to get rid of as their attacker? Montaigne again.
All right. Not a huge influence on this map normally. So that's an interesting choice.
Yeah, not really. I mean, you can use him?
Oh, he's
I
not
guess,
unusable. He's just certainly not a preference.
Yeah, I don't see that as an amazing ban. Glaz also banned out, so that's the same as what we saw in Bank for both of the attacking bans.
Now it's a case where I mean, Glaz can be pretty strong on this map, but I'd almost rather get rid of Lion just because you need to be able to rotate freely on this map. But well, preferences are preferences, and we'll see what the last one will be. I mean, it's more than likely to be Echo, but in this case, the Maestro was a bigger problem.
It's about the same.
That one I actually agree with just because of Talon. He was so deadly on that Maestro.
Oh, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Talon was the only reason that we have a map number 3. Talon was just absolutely shutting Nomads down. So definitely agree with that ban from Nomads.
Well, I mean, we'll see if it's a factor on this map, but that's what you do, right? You see something like that, and you just shut it down. I'm not sure about the Monty one, but yeah. They will be starting on Laundry here. A Maverick will be coming out. So far, I haven't seen a ton of use for Maverick on this particular bomb site. Not that there aren't potential uses for it, but I'm not sure it's a big impact. There's not a ton of walls you're going to need to get open. The hatches are opened fairly easily, and he's not great at opening hatches. He's much better on walls. Could be used, I suppose, to an extent on blue push, for example, down in construction, but I don't know. It's something where we'll have to see if Talon has something magical in store for that, or if it's just let's try it and see if it works kind of thing. We'll see a 6th pick to an Echo, though, from Thomas. So Bill also going to be bringing that Capitao that we've seen a lot of. That is a good one for pushing onto this lobby here if they're going to go that route. Although I'd say it's actually fairly effective pushing from construction as well. Overall, a good operator for both bomb sites, both attacks on the bomb sites on this map. So I definitely agree with playing that, just because of the sheer flexibility you get in your attacks with him. There's our Marcio, our observer, getting a little Twitter shout out. Make sure to tweet at him, regardless if you have a good reason to or not.
Marcio does a lot of great work for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
In spectating all these events and Pro League and also USN, and great guy, great observer.
Yeah, you think BK's always watching. So is Marcio.
Marcio sees everything. You just don't hear about it.
The silent observer. Well, Rainbow...
The watchful protector.
Yeah, the vigilant one.
All right, so Nomads defending here on the basement to start things off. And they've got a pretty extensive roam extended into the kitchen as well.
We'll see if they're able to hold that for a long period of time. Playing the Jaeger on that kind of defense is pretty common. It's a good way to hold it off because he can fight somewhat decent at long angles and can do so through the pantry. But I like the addition of X here, try and provide some backup for his teammate and the flexibility to rotate out with drone coverage thanks to his cloaking ability. And he's going to take advantage of that to help Rainbow. They are pushing to take kitchen fast, though, as Yellow has done. So it is typical for a Buck or Zofia to do that, both of which they have. But I like the extra coverage. Tomas actually has a yokai drone inside its either pantry or meeting hall to help them out, and I like that. They're really banking on just a lot of coverage of each other to defend against meeting hall, and that's really going to slow both Yellow and Talon down here. But they are doubling up as well. We'll see, though, if they can find an angles. Again, I'm not going to see ton of use from Maverick here unless he's going to sneak up into that pantry and start opening up angles in that wall. That's a risky thing to do, though. Yellow actually going to rotate off. He's going to go around to help push tower here, which Cookies is also helping with. So they can. No one's really in tower, so they could definitely take it. And that will help put additional pressure on meeting hall. So I think this is the smart approach to what was a stalled out kitchen push.
Overall, just a bit of a stalemate right now. Sinister looking for some kills so they can extend a lead of some sort, but Nomads is playing about as passive as they possibly can.
Well, the nice thing is they burned 2 minutes and didn't have to really do anything other than kind of hang out in meeting hall, you know, appropriately named at the moment. And now the army of drones here from Talon and Billboard coming out to claim it clear. But with 53 seconds left to do something with that information, that's actually not a great position to be in. They're going to have to try and go for an execute here pretty soon and try and get some initial kills, especially with Sour pulsing them out and the additional drone coverage. It's going to be a problem.
X playing Harry Potter, and this is a great position as a Vigil to play that CQC combat in your favor. He sees the head of his opponent pushing downstairs, and he will land the shot. Cookies goes down, and no refrag for Sinister. Oh, but right as he goes back to box, you can see Chapstick is ready and waiting with open arms, thanks to that opened up wall. 17 seconds, though, and here's the gas canisters. Now you can't plant. Yokai drones as well in play, and yeah, this isn't happening right now. The Yokai will almost certainly deny the plant, despite however many the attackers will kill, and that's just due to the poor time management. Sour managed to get a bunch of kills, but there you have it. The defenders win the round on kills due to a forced rush. Well done to Sour, indeed, holding out in that focal point.
Surprisingly, that actually got close to an attacker win anyways, just off frags. But yeah, well played, great timing. But no, exactly. I mean, a nice try there by Sinister. I liked the flank from Blue to be able to cover anyone pushing back from those stairs, so smart play there. But losing the fight on the stairs, I don't think that should happen. I think there was advantage there to Cookies. He just, I don't know if he was just not expecting someone, was just completely surprised. But his gun is one that has enough bullets to be able to pre-fire successfully as you're coming downstairs like that. And it looked like he even saw him for a second there, so that was definitely not a great move by Cookies. At least it got refragged by the attacker inside Blue. But yeah, the Yokai and the smokes coming out that late into a round. Unfortunately, just such a slow clear of Meeting Hall, completely biting them.
That's the thing, is like it wasn't even a clear of Meeting Hall. They didn't clear Meeting Hall.
Yeah.
Like, they were gifted Meeting Hall in the last minute, and then they didn't use it for anything.
Yeah.
They ultimately just went for a tower construction tush.
It was more like,
why did they even need Meeting Hall?
So they didn't get flanked, I guess.
I know, sure, but you could, all you need to do is go into tower and open the Meeting Hall wall,
There's one
and then
entry
you're
point.
done.
Yeah.
It's, you know, they spent 2 whole minutes clearing the west side of the building, the main lobby, and then ultimately did nothing with that. And then they pushed into tower and construction. I am bamboozled by that push. It doesn't make any sense. It was so disjointed, and that's why Nomads was able to salvage it in the end.
Well, you know, that's what happens sometimes too when it's the first round of a map and you're really not sure how the other team's going to play it. You've got to feel things out, and unfortunately they just spent way too long doing that.
Absolutely right.
So we'll see how they execute on their second time around, though, here on the dorms. Now, they're going to know that this is, as you mentioned, there's only 2 really good bomb sites on this map, so they kind of have an inkling of an idea where they're going to be attacking next, which should give them some advantage, at least in intel, and potentially how to attack it. But I got to imagine Sour being on that pulse, if he's playing it smart, is also going to have some good counter intel on where the push is actually going to come from, because there are a limited number of pushes onto dorms here. Most either focused onto the master bedroom, into the bunks, or generator as it's called, or a push into the kids' bedroom. Every once in a while, you see a push onto the big window, but that's a big, risky play.
Yellow has control of Armory, but he does not catch the rotation of his opponent out of Master. Bad timing there from the Sledge. He's going to have this position in hand, and basically from here he can deny any future rotations back towards the east side of this top floor. But he's not going to be able to do much damage from the spot by himself. He needs a hard destructor to come in and open up the wall into the closet. However, there is no Thatcher, and there is a bandit of Rainbow. What is Rainbow doing?
Well, this is a situation where Maverick would be perfect to open up a hole in that wall as well, but they're actually so concerned with Tower. Look at focusing heavily on this and losing the diffuser right there. Billboard dying, just trying to take out Thomas. They're pinching him from every side, and he's still alive a minute and a half into the round.
Yes, the Jaeger of Thomas able to survive at the top of tower. Sorry, I was stuck in a trance there for a second.
Right, mesmerizing plays.
Able to distract 3 players for a solid 2 minutes, and Sinister will finally shut him down, but the damage is done. The time is wasted. Sinister now is at a disadvantage as they start addressing the actual site.
I mean, they only lost 1 person, so they have a man advantage, but they did lose some good utility and a whole lot of time, which is starting to become a pattern for Sinister on these attacks so far. They're at least able to somewhat surround the bomb site, but that certainly is a very far cry from an execute. They do have both hard breachers, though, so they can start to open up angles at least, but they don't seem to be doing that yet.
So they're going to use that that Maverick to likely get the second battery if they need to, and they'll use the Thermite to just open up the closet once they get there. But oh, look at that! There's only 30 seconds. So now that they have the closet open, what are they going to do with it? Well, they're going to down the smoke. So all of that time that potentially could have been wasted by Glitch is now no longer available. So that was really clutch of a kill there from Chap. Very important that he was able to get that. There are still good denial options, but it's not going to happen. Sinister will just frag out.
They absolutely should not have won that round, but they absolutely did. I mean, just great execution once they got to the fragging point there. Too many peaks coming out from Nomads when they were at a man disadvantage. You mentioned about Rainbow just playing overly aggressive and getting punished for it earlier. Left them even more so at a man disadvantage. I mean, losing the guy in tower, that's fine, but Rainbow shouldn't have extended himself because they were managing to burn up time very successfully. And when you burn up time, what do you need at the end is manpower to be able to make sure that that time can be continued to be exploited. And of course, losing the smoke, not great.
Yeah, he got on drones instead of throwing his gas canister. I want to say that that was a misclick. He used the wrong button maybe, but whatever the case be, a huge mistake that did ultimately cost his team the round. If he had been able to gas canister the generator room, then it's done, man. Then all the attackers are forced through the main hallway. That's a killing box. It's over.
Well, we'll see if they can manage to do it a little bit better this time, and they have some additional utility this time. They're going to bring the Valkyrie instead of the Pulse. While I did think he did an okay job with the Pulse last time, it ultimately was not leading to any kills or anything other than him staying alive, which in itself is not bad, but in a situation when you are the Valkyrie instead and putting cameras outside, it matters less whether you're alive or not, and that's a good thing. In a situation where you're going to have to help your teammates at least play for time as much as possible. Now, Sinister are going to know a bit better how Nomads play this, so I hope that leads to a faster execute from them and a little bit less indecision and time spent on different areas of the map. not really sure how to actually pressure it, and maybe not so much time spent on tower this time.
Nomads technically has options when it comes to the site selection here, but they also don't really. You know, the only other choices are kitchen and tower, because they were successful on the basement. So they're just going to defend the same site the second time in a row.
Laundry will be next round, whether they win this or not, very likely.
Yeah, we'll see that Laundry for sure. Given how successful they were on their previous attempt, it wasn't a one-sided event, but it was definitely a win, a solid one for Nomads when they went to the basement. Nomads' defenses are really kind of lackluster. Something that I think you can look back on all of these maps and point a finger at. When Nomads was defending on bank, they seemed like they didn't have anything going in their favor.
They're just not good at controlling their aggression and using that to their advantage. When they make peaks, they often lose them.
Yeah, and when they went on border, they had some rounds that they managed to barely eke out. And then it's been the same, I mean, on Oregon. Every single defensive win that Nomads has managed to get has been, like, narrow.
Yeah.
Incredibly close to being a Sinister attack win. Yeah, and mostly off time, yeah. So I think it's definitely something that Nomads is going to need to work on in the future, because their defenses are pretty bad. Which is interesting. You don't see that often. You know, usually if there's something a team will struggle with, it's the attacks.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that Nomads are actually fairly good on these attacks. It's just
very good on the attack.
Yeah, it's their ability to peak attackers correctly or knowing when to do so. Some of that's timing, some of that's just not winning the fights or advantageous angles. There's an advantageous angle right there for Sour, but at least Yellow got Rainbow again early at the beginning of the round. So far, that was a nice double execution as Tomas got killed right at the top of tower. What was?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like Rainbow actually died at the same exact spot he died at last time. All the while, though, you can see the fight here between Talon and Sour inside of that attic. Billboard's going to be the one to actually get Sour from the main hallway. The shot's missed here from X, and that's not great for Nomads. They're continuing to lose members on this push. And they do still have a decent position to hold out, but they've got to hold out for 50 seconds. And there's no flank potential. It's just going to have to come down to raw one-on-one fights here if Sinister will even let Nomads have any of those.
And Glitch is at low health as well.
Yeah. Here come the gas canisters to try and deny Generator. Glitch will get the shotgun onto Talon. That's a very important kill, but look at that. 1 HP on Glitch. X has chosen to rotate down the white stairs. This could be the moment of truth here for Nomads. If he gets the right flank, he will get one, but not the second. And he has not downed the diffuser, which means it will likely be planted in moments here inside of dorms. Spray through the wall for X, just narrowly missing some shots there onto Yellow. Both of these attackers are on low HP, and one will be downed, the second one marked, and this could still be a clutch for X. He doesn't have to fight against a mirror window, luckily for him, which means this retake is definitely possible. He sees the spray, and the tracers give away the position, but the vault from Capital might be the perfect play.
Oh, no!
X is on the diffuser, but he knows he can't stick it because of the rappel. But the vault, will he have time is the real question. He has to make it back into the building, and he might not be able to make it with enough time to disable the diffuser. It's gonna be close, but I don't think it's possible. We're nearing on the last legs of what is very possible, but it's just gonna be the nice 1 second difference.
Oh.
Only time will tell. We can't possibly know.
And they did it!
Wow! X, what a clutch. So narrowly, successfully disabling that diffuser.
I almost wanted the diffusing right there to trigger the song X Gonna Give It To You. Right then. Just, that would have been the perfect moment.
X done give it to them.
Yeah. But well played by X. That was such a tough spot to be in. That was a clutch he probably should not have won. The aggressiveness somewhat paid off. He almost caught him actually vaulting out the window first. We've seen so many times where situations like that just lead to not enough time left to be able to get the defuse. That was about as close as you can get.
I was about to say, that's pretty much the situation where you're not expecting the castle to clutch it. No. He should not have had enough time. For example, if they had not put in the pistol speed boost, he would not have had enough time.
That's a good point. That one change saved it for him. That is
so just a little thing little edge that he definitely needed. And it was scary when he got stuck on that wall,
Yeah.
going from the big kid or the big window to dorms.
Yeah.
I thought that was it, man. I thought that 1 little second was not going to be enough time.
Yeah, like you said, the pistol thing made all the difference in the world there, and him being able to pull that off. Whew. Thankfully, there was no claymores, right? That could have got him. We've seen that kind of situation happen before.
Yeah, we have, you know, if there had been a claymore on any point of that, he would have had to stop sprinting to shoot it. So, again, that's another thing. Even if it didn't kill him, it would have wasted so much time.
Well, either way, though, that round's over. They did a good job managing to pull it out. But they, again, have had poor defenses, and I would still qualify that absolutely as a poor defense that round. That was barely won, but in a situation where I wouldn't say they necessarily deserved to get that defensive round. But nonetheless, they are only up 1 point, and Sinister have just continued to get better on their executes for the most part. And Nomads, at least going back downstairs, the one site that they won before,
yeah,
this gives them some advantage here. But again, they're going to try and play this tower.
Okay, so if you're going to put someone in tower, why is it Echo?
Because he could be on his drone the whole time, not watch and just get killed without paying any attention.
Because he's the most exposed operator right now on defense as well. I mean, like, that's just... Oh, man. I mean, if Sinister doesn't attack the tower, great.
Sure, yeah.
Fantastic. Your Echo's in a better spot. He can flank later in the round, and he can do a lot of work with those drones.
The problem, though, is he's a 1-speed, though, so that flank is going to be slow.
Yeah, and if Sinister realize he's in tower and decide that, hey, you know what? Let's kill the Echo. Then you make your life a lot more difficult.
Well, we'll see how it plays out, but yeah, as it looks on paper here, that's not a great play by the Echo. They still could manage to pull it out, but it is going to depend on whether Sinister want to take that tower. And so far, they haven't shown a lot of interest in it. I imagine they're going to try and clear it out. It is hard to clear that one, of course, because I mean, if you can squeak your drone up that ladder, it takes a really long time. So chances are, unless they can throw a drone up through the window, they're not going to fully drone that site. But they might be able to hear him in there.
Either way, he's already fallen out of tower. I mean, half of the round is transpired, so he's moving back to site. He's got the Yokai drone now in the meeting hall, and he'll just be calling out information all the way safe by box, nice and snug in the corner.
Right. Well, credit to Tomas then, you know, knowing when to call it a day and get out of tower. So that is definitely going to work to their benefit again.
And look, Sin is still trying to clear tower. Why?
Did he leave some like snack wrappers up there or something? Make them think that.
Are they trying to attack through construction tower again after having cleared out the west side of the building? Why would you spend that time when you're trying to push into tower? The whole reason you push tower construction is so you can negate the west side roam, so you don't have to think about it.
Well, speaking of Echo, this is definitely a repeat of round 1.
Well, whatever the case, here comes the push. Yellow inside of the hallway. Great position to cut off rotation. A little bit exposed to any peeks from the south side of that hallway, but it does not seem that the defenders are keen on peeking him at this moment in time. Look at that, though. 25 seconds, 5 versus 5. Glitch with the gas canisters. Sour with the C4, and Sour C4 will land, as well as his shots from the ump. Damage is being done here to all the Sinister players as Cookies is on low. And the Yokai drone will deny the plant after as X gets the kill. Billboard will finally shut down X and also down the smoke inside of box, but it's just not enough time. Surprise, surprise. Sinister spent so much time clearing out the roamers on the west side of the building and then shift to a construction tower take as they have done before, forcing themselves into a corner because they don't have time.
I don't feel like they learned anything from round 1. I get that impression. Either way, though, that learning not going to apply, as now that means third bomb site time. Not going to be tower, interestingly, despite all the action or non-action we've seen in tower. It's going to be into kitchen dining.
So, kitchen is, as we all know, not the most ideal site to defend.
It's winnable, and it has been won, but it is certainly a long shot.
Yeah, it is very much. So this is going to be an expected loss for Nomads, which means if they can win it, then fantastic. That's great for them. They definitely want that. And if they do win it, then this probably transitions into being an unrecoverable match for Sinister.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely as we were saying, in theory, should have been a map that Sinister were more comfortable on because they're long-term. And it's like, yeah, I imagine all these players probably been playing since the game came out, so it's not like lack of experience as in like general experience with this map, but like high-level experience on this map. It should absolutely favor Sinister.
See, that's the confusing thing.
Yeah.
Their attack strategy onto the basement is backwards. So it's a little bit weird.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, if you're in attack tower, you just go in there in the first like minute.
Yeah, again, I'll reiterate, the reason you attack tower is so that you don't have to worry about clearing out the west side at all. It saves you so much time.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a thought process there for Sinister. That's the thing, is these guys, they're not dumb. They know what they're doing. So I'm curious as to what it is. I would love to.
It's hard when we don't see it actually work. Then you don't understand why it was done.
There's something going on that we don't know. I'll talk to the Sinister guys, and I'm sure they'll enlighten me after this match.
If they can bring it back, maybe we'll get to talk to one of them live.
Yeah, that's true. If they win it, we get to ask them in the interview. So
you better believe that question's going to be in there.
Yeah. But anyway,
what was going on there, guys?
It doesn't matter. We're now going into close to the second half, or one round away, and this is a situation again. Sinister should win right now. They should get this. If they don't, it's going to be hard for them to recover.
Well, we'll see. Maverick using his torch on a soft wall, because either way, he just wanted those angles. I think Attic is definitely one area where Maverick is useful, because it's a nice long angle you can open up, as well as I was mentioning earlier about Armory. There are a few good spots you can use, and you, of course, want to clear out that Attic just to make sure you don't have to deal with it. And I like the idea that you can clear it out without overexposing any kind of rotates, without giving them the potential to really do much back. So it seems like a good idea. But we'll see if they can turn that into good execute. So far, they haven't done a lot to actually do much to the site. Usually, you put a little more pressure on the site early on just to force them into more positions while you're clearing out the roamers. They should be doing something potentially to that dining door to clear it out, or even, I guess, clearing out top floor at this point. They're still outside at the minute-and-a-half mark. This is, again, a slow Sinister attack.
They have managed to get the top 4 control, though, and on this site, having top 4 control is super good. I mean, the fact that they took more time with this, not a huge deal, because now they can do with this top 4 as they please. This is so dangerous. Yellow going to eat a lot of damage through the floor from Sour. C4 is going to miss, and actually, X will take out Cookies, but still an alive Sledge above, and he's looking for Sour. He wants that fight. But I gotta say, with so little HP on Yellow, if he finds it, I'm imagining Sour's gonna win.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the possibility there. There was a lot of explosions going off, and no one really dying directly from it, but it certainly put a lot of hurt on them, made them kind of reconsider some of these angles. And that top floor control almost being used against them was nicely played. The fact that they didn't lose anyone in the process, they still have a smoke and an Echo, as well as some decent fragging operators left. And, of course, you know, killing Yellow and Cookies, looking like a 4-1.
Rainbow also takes out Chap and Billboard and Talon, the last 2 attackers with, oh, look at that, 15 seconds. Not an ideal situation. They managed to isolate the default plant spot, but they still have the Yokais in play. Talon will take out Glitch, but he has no more time, and he has to push past so many defenders. It's all over. 4-1 right now for Nomads. That's the end of the first half. And it's going to be hard for Sinister to recover from that loss.
Yeah, it's definitely a really good start. I mean, especially when we're talking about how we see Nomads better on attack than defense. So we saw still a lot of, I would still say, you know, not the greatest defenses, but the time management from Sinister, they were losing to themselves, really.
Yeah. They've been losing to themselves on Oregon. It seems to be the struggle that they've been facing. There's definitely something to address for Sinister right now, and this brief pause is going to be, I think, a really good opportunity for them to just think about what's going on with their strategies and try and revamp it. I mean, I say that, but we're now transitioning to the second half, which means Sinister is going to be going on to defense, which the whole thing is shifting, and you can't really fix your attacks on defense. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, even when they're on the back foot from Nomads, they still manage to win 2 attack rounds, which in this case nets them the win. Because of that 4-1 advantage they have right now, that's all they've got to win. And they take it. They don't have to sweep it. They just have to get 2 of the next 5.
Yep.
And that's it. I mean, assuming they're not the last 2 of it, but...
Yeah, I mean, I think... I have to imagine that Nomads is not going to let 2 rounds slip away from here on out. But we've seen crazier things before.
Yeah.
So it is possible that Sinister just really knows their defense on Oregon. Nomads somehow can attack on every other map except for Oregon. And this will be a revamp or it'll go in favor of Sinister. Anyway,
yep.
Getting back into the match.
So far, I mean, I hate to be biased, but I'm putting my money on Nomads at this point, just off of how much that's worked and the fact that we know their attacks are a lot more organized than the 4 defenses that they won.
/bet space Nomads space 100.
All right, throw out those virtual coins. We'll see, though. Sinister going to be playing a little bit of a different defense. Yellow going to be playing that ACOG Doc, which I think he's fairly good at. That's not a bad choice for him. Billboard has been a bit hit and miss on that Echo. Something that I'm not sure is working out super great for him. Though Chapstick a good smoke, that should be okay. We'll see if Talon, though, without his Maestro, can clutch out the same way I feel like you were saying before. He single-handedly saved Border for them, but he cannot play it on this map. So let's hope that wasn't a one-off. That's the only operator he can play at this point.
So I have to really appreciate for a second here the efficiency of the Nomads attack. They've isolated the main lobby. They've also cleared out the west side, and they are starting to try and Thermite. Though Talon with a nice one-tap on Thomas. The Thermite charge will open up the drop-down. Well placed by X, and he shows his proficiency as the Thermite once again. Now the flashbang is just going down, likely to clear out the ADSs if there are any. Seemingly none being placed right now. The mirror band means that this is going to be a lot harder to defend from the main lobby, and that's what Nomads is counting on. On that note, we didn't see the main lobby attack once from Sinister, despite there not being a mirror, which is kind of peculiar. Now, here comes the EE1D, or at least the first one. That's going to detect Cookies, the Jaeger, inside a meeting hall. Now they're aware they're being pressured from the flank, but the great thing about this is you could just stick someone to watch it and continue your assault onto the actual objective with relative ease.
Yeah, well, this is, as we were talking about, a lot more of an efficient attack. It has stalled out a bit due to Talon getting 2 kills now, 3 kills. Okay, here we go. Talon again saving the day.
Talon has been the master of Sinister so far throughout this whole play day. On Border is when he really started to pop off, and now on Oregon it seems like he's having his moment. The EE1D won't detonate fast enough, and Talon will get his 4th kill. But X is inside of the site, and Billboard will shut him down, so no ace.
Oh, Billboard's stealing his other ace.
I mean, honestly, at this point, I'm sure Talon's just happy to get the round win.
Oh,
that will put them at 4-2, still in favor of Nomads.
That's still pretty far from a win. So far, we've had 1 attack win on Dorms, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, back to Dorms. Here we go for that potential 2nd attack win.
Now, this is Sinister's turn, though, so technically a different team. I mean, this is very certainly, I think this will go a different way. It'll play a different way. It seemed like Nomads were really struggling with defending that top floor. It was not something they were proficient at doing. And Sinister, on the other hand, I got to imagine that they're going to have a little bit more of a locked up hold for the top. I mean, I think it's something that they're much more experienced in, and it's something that they'll be more proficient at as a result.
Interesting that it's not going to be yellow this time on Doc. It's going to be Talon sneaking over to it.
Yeah.
Tomas, what are you going to pick?
The hobby. So 6 picking into what he already picked.
Yeah, good choice.
So that actually just doesn't do anything, by the way, in case you were wondering. It doesn't decept them at all. It's just kind of redundant.
Yeah.
But I mean, why not, right?
It's a situation, too, where it was most likely that he was thinking about 6 picking into something, and then they either talked about it or he decided against it.
Yeah. And
just went ahead and confirmed his initial choice. So it's interesting when you can see certain transitions like that and kind of get a little bit more insight into what the thought process could be. But in this case, it's obviously we don't have their comms, so it's all guesswork at that point.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I think internally when you're watching a team, you got to wonder, what were they thinking?
Yeah.
And, you know, you wish you could know the answer, but it's not always readily available. Like I said, though, you know, there's opportunities in the future to always just, you know, reach out and find out from what they have to say.
Well, you know what you do is you go to the LAN events and you meet the players and you ask them in person.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing you could do. Me personally, I'm just gonna DM Billboard after this and be like, dude, what was that basement attack?
Dude, what?
No, that's probably the phrasing that I will use. Sour already eating some damage early on into the round, put on about 25, just over 25 HP. And that's not a great start, but he, of course, has plenty of time to be reset if Nomads should choose to do so.
I have a feeling they probably won't. He'll probably just go and try and frag without that, but don't carry the diffuser if you're going to do that, please. That's never a good choice to play diffuse carrier on low health, because a little bit of smoke damage, a little bit of pre-fire into the bomb planting site is enough to down you, and guess where the diffuser lies then? On your corpse. So let's hope he's either going to go for a reset or drop it on the roof at some point.
Well, speaking of dropping onto the roof, Execration looking to move his way into that main master bedroom. Cookie's still inside of the tower. It's a very dangerous position if the attackers are hunting you, but they're not right now. Cookies has free reign, which means he can do a lot of work from this position if given the right opportunities. And most importantly, he will be a distraction and a thorn on the side of Nomads if they get distracted by him. Though Nomads has been pretty good at not getting distracted by roamers so far through this match. Sour seems like he's going to have the duty of flank watch. Not ideal with so little HP. Rainbow, nice grenade kill onto Chap there, probably at the top of White Stairs, well placed through that open wall. The drone work here is going to detect the anchors inside of dorms.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it caught the one kind of hanging out in the corner there, but
seems like it did. He was marked out. The smoke is going to fall through the floor since it was so much destroyed. Billboard will get a nice kill onto Glitch. Sour onto Cookies. Yellow back onto Rainbow. It's just a back and forth here. A flurry of kills, really. And Thomas will down a player, but he was being finished off himself, and doesn't look like X-Grace is going to be able to win in the post plant. And Talon making sure to check his crouch button as his teammate Billboard disables the diffuser.
Well, heck of a comeback, but still short. Looking like Nomads maybe not so great on the attack on this map. Definitely struggling. They still only have to get 2 to bring it back, but it's going to be a bit more of a struggle than I'm sure they would have liked. They are still ahead by 1 point. Of course, this is the 3rd map, so whoever wins this moves on to play again in the 3rd week of Stage 2, so they will not play again next week, but the week after they will be, assuming the scheduling doesn't have a gap between now and then. But they're going to go voluntarily to kitchen dining. Oh, no, not voluntary. What am I saying? They've already played 2 successful rounds.
So Sinister have been winning on their defenses, so they have to go to a 3rd bomb site, which is going to be kitchen.
To be fair, that did work out, I'd say, fairly well for Nomads. I'd say they had a pretty successful defense on it.
Yeah, Nomads did really lock out that kitchen hold. Now, Sinister might do the same. We'll see. Nomads' attacks have been pretty good. I think they've been missing a little bit of lethality, a little bit of bite.
You saw him not be able to finish off Valkyrie, for example, and that cost him his own life.
Yeah, there was a lot of situations where random damage was being done as well to some of the Nomads attackers, just with no response at all. So, the Nomads is going to have to correct that. They've got some really concise attacks, and I like their efficiency. But they have to be able to win fights ultimately, no matter what you. I don't know of rounds in any form of CG sports where you're winning if you can't get a kill or 2.
Yeah, I mean that's really important in terms of when you're trying to actually make the plant count.
Yeah,
right? You want less people trying to retake it.
I imagine X-Creation probably could have actually won that post plant. He looked poised and ready. But he lost so many of his teammates in the transition, and ultimately he just needed 1 or 2 more people to help support his flank.
I mean, overall it was a good take. It was just not a great defense of the diffuser.
Yeah. Oh well, it happens, and it was a really nice retake from Sinister. So massive props to them for that. Now it's going to be a cutoff here down the middle from Thomas. He's trying to establish control by opening up that bottom of White Stairs window. Basically, by opening that, you can deny rotation through the main hallway downstairs. But it's a little bit dangerous because there's so many angles the defenders can address you from when you fight that. You can see here we have Cookies, I believe that is, playing inside of the laundry. So the upstairs laundry, or otherwise sometimes referred to as wash. Now, that position that Cookies is playing is very important because see where Sour's sitting right now? If he pushes in through, if you take a look at Sour over by the junk tower, as soon as he pushes in there, he's exposed to Cookies from that angle. So Cookies' position is to have a crossfire onto the junk tower entrance to deny the inevitable default plant behind that indestructible wall. And you can see that the default plant is coming from Nomads. Cookies is going to be pressured now, but the EE1D is holding him still, so he cannot rush into the hallway to deny. Also, Glitch is watching the hallway, so no rush is possible. Talon will take out Thomas, but the diffuser has been planted. Sour is well inside of the A site. Glitch will also take out Talon as he crosses into the hallway. And here we go. Sour in the great spot will get a double kill. Glitch also takes out Cookies, leaving just Yellow as the last defender. And he's going to have to retake. It's not a great situation. He's looking for all the fights he can find. But as he's being marked, or actually as his enemies are being marked, he might have the information he needs to get this clutch. The heavy damage drop-off, though, will cost him in the first engagement, and Sour will be there to clean him up. So, Nomads take their very first attacking round.
Map and match point now with a 2-point lead. Means it's going to be very hard for Sinister to come back from this just because they're on the precipice now of losing. But of course, as we said earlier, any team that loses this can go ahead and try and come back again. Next week and the following weeks, or, well, skipping the finals weeks for each of the conferences. But either way, plenty of chances for that. And I think this will definitely, if this is the shutdown on Sinister, definitely not be the last time we see them.
Certainly not. And I imagine the same for Nomads if this is a comeback for Sinister, because both of these teams have been playing pretty excellently today.
Yeah.
And you got to give them props for that. I know. Okay, so possibly the final site for this match as we go to Laundry Supply Room. A 6-pick off of the Mute onto the castle. And Thatcher being brought just in case. Looks like we will actually be having a rehost.
Unlucky. But either way, we may only have to rehost for one round, depending on how that one round goes. I do like the 6th pick over to the Lion. I feel like the Lion is actually a good choice for the way that they're playing. Because they have the fast takes of map control, one of the things you can do to lock down that map control is hit a Lion, especially when you're setting up for an execute. You have one to help set up for that execute or go for the plant. And then the other one, of course, to try and prevent a retake. We're not always seeing that Lion for that retake. Sometimes the Lion's dead by then. Sometimes he'd already used both. But I think given the way that they're able to execute faster on the map control, faster than Sinister has, I think that is a good choice for them. And we saw it have a good effect last round especially.
Yeah, the last round, the Lion was a big part of why that round was so successful for Nomads. We saw Cookies, for example. He's stuck in Laundry. He cannot, or in Wash, rather. He cannot move his way out of that position.
He was also busy sticking his ADS on at the time the execute happened.
Either way, not a great spot. EE1D didn't help. All that said, we're going to throw to a 3-minute break while we wait for everything to get back into a position where we can play.
Yeah, we've got to set up 8 rounds worth, so we'll see you in a few minutes. All right, welcome back for what will be 1 to 4 rounds left, depending on how things go. This is the edge for Nomads. They have 1 point to get to win this. Of course, if 2 come back from Sinister, we could see overtime. Not looking likely, but at the same time, entirely within the realm of possibility, given how things have gone. So,
yeah, I mean, it is, as you said, in the realm of possibility. Sinister have been playing very well so far today. They are losing pretty heavily right this minute, but on Oregon, they seem to have a level of proficiency that was not really prevalent on Bank, as an example.
Well, score and round-wise, though, I would give the edge to Nomads in that they won one more round ahead on Bank. There was a 6-3 in their favor, whereas Border went 6-4 in Sinister's favor. So as far as number efficiency goes, the edge goes to Nomad, and currently right now the point edge definitely goes to Nomad. So we'll see if they can finish it this round or not, or if we're going to see some more rounds. I don't think Sinister are rolling over anytime soon here. They definitely want to fight this out. Now they, of course, they lost one defensive round so far, and it was the one that you expect to lose. It was Dining, but we said that about Dining for Nomads, and they certainly did not lose it whatsoever. So kudos to them when normally we're not necessarily a big fan of their defenses.
So, speaking of defenses, Laundry Room.
Yep.
The final potential site for, or the potentially final site for this match. There is no Mira yet again, so that's going to make Sinister's defense a lot more difficult. Not having that information. They do have a bulletproof cam. You can see that. I believe it was just being placed there by Yellow, or if not mistaken, bulletproof cam being placed by Yellow inside of the closet. I really like that. It's on the shelf, Marsu, to the inside of the small closet. Right there on.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, on the little blue bin.
Well, isn't that cute?
Yeah, so well placed. That's a substitute mirror window, I guess.
Yeah, we've seen that done before sometimes in different ways. I like the usage of that, the way that people will use that as a camera in spots where smoke is very likely to be a factor.
Yeah, and this is the sort of thing that we were talking about earlier, before, like at the beginning of the broadcast, stuff you get to see in places like USN, where it's just, it's a little thing that isn't always, used elsewhere, and it gives you a slight edge. It's clearly why Sinister banned Mira.
Yeah.
So, having that information, they won't be at that much of a disadvantage. But, of course, the last time Sinister defended the basement, their success factor was nothing to do with that camera. It had, in fact, everything to do with Talon absolutely shredding Nomads as they attempted to push into the building.
If they can kill Talon first, then, at that point, I'm just calling round over.
Yeah, if Talon dies, then I think it's going to be a struggle for Sinister.
Now, I think last time he might have been on a pulse, though, playing that. Was it mute? Okay, mute. I knew there was some kind of MP5 or UMP kind of thing going on.
Yeah, it was definitely mute. He was playing by the kitchen hallway, and he managed to get 4 kills. Yeah, it was an impressive round for Talon, and he's had a lot of those impressive rounds throughout the series. If not for Talon, I don't think that we would be on map number 3.
Yeah, definitely the case. I mean, obviously, he gets support from teammates. He might be stealing their kills for all we know. But nonetheless, he's signing those death warrants many of the times, so credit to him. There is the first line going off, the E1D. We're going to see the hatch get popped again from the class walls, where you gave credit to last time. He had good positioning on it.
Yeah.
Doing so again. So
this time he doesn't have to deal with the mute jammers.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier for him to get the drop down open.
Well, they are putting pressure down here. They might or might not see that bulletproof camera. They did look directly towards where it's at, but he is going to try and put pressure on this hallway. They need to get set up for X to push and get the plant down, but they are good at getting the plant down when it comes down to it, but they need the smoke coming out from Rainbow first.
The Valkyrie cam right behind these Nomad attackers is going to hurt them a lot once the inevitable push comes. Billboard on the Yokai drone. Will he be able to weave it, though? Yes, he will. X is forced off of that diffuse plant. The gas canister also doing a large amount of damage to the thermite. So good denial here from Sinister, but Nomads has been efficient thus far in their attack, and they have plenty of time to work with. They're not too worried about this Yokai drone. X unable to hit it, though, and it looks like Billboard's going to just continue to deny this plant. He doesn't even need to fire a shot. He's already got X scared. C4 also in play here for Talon, and it will land. X goes down, and chat Also going to take out Sour. The drop from Glitch in an attempt to refrag and get them back into the round is not going to do anything in the immediate. The Yokai drone is right above Glitch right now, and Yellow and Talon will get 1 kill each before Talon finishes things out with a triple kill onto Rainbow. Sinister, an excellent defense of the basement, and Nomads absolutely unsure what to do.
It was, I mean, all about that Yokai drone. I know I said Billboard had been struggling with Echo some of the rounds. That was definitely not one of those rounds right there. That was well played in terms of, I think he had a wooden beam protecting it, so no matter how many times they faked it, they couldn't see the Yokai drone effectively from the angle they were looking at it. And that, of course, is the value of that kind of positioning, knowing where to stick it to have an angle like that that's really hard to see, I think, over potentially by some laundry machines, and having a nice angle right onto the spot. Then, of course, the smoke damage certainly didn't hurt as well. Well, it did hurt Thermite, but didn't hurt their defense. But now they've got to go back up to dorms. If they can't do something similar, this is the last one here. They did successfully defend it before, but that doesn't mean they will be able to do it again. I mean, that round right there was mostly just about the Echo doing its job. It's not necessarily the same story up here. You can't necessarily have the same kind of denial and positioning in dorms. That's not to say that they don't have other tools in their belt here to stop this, though.
Yeah, but the Billboard play of that Echo was pretty excellent. So we got to stay on that basement, and it definitely was the reason why Sinister is still in this. But you know, I don't know if it's going to be enough here again. And it was actually, since we're on the note of Billboard, it was a big part of the reason Sinister was able to win the top floor hold last time they were up here. Billboard staying alive inside of B for so very long and doing a lot of damage to the Nomads attack, getting a couple kills himself, and then also eventually just getting the inevitable disable on the diffuser.
Yeah.
So he's been putting in a lot of work in the second half of this third map, and we'll see if he's the one to persevere in this next round.
The chosen one.
Is he the chosen one? Indeed, that's the question.
This is the test.
It's nothing short of the chosen one. You have to be the one above all others, or you're nobody.
Yeah. You're first or you're last.
Isn't that the mentality?
That's right. I mean, that's,
yeah.
You know as well as anyone else, that's kind of the mentality you have to have going into this.
Yeah, it's true. You know, you really do need to believe that you can be, you know, the best. I think it's an important, as a professional player, it's important to have a very fine balance between confidence and hubris. And it's hard to find, let me tell you. So, Thomas, looking for some electronics. He does detect a Valkyrie cam, and he knows that he's going to have to deal with that eventually, but he also knows that he can't do it right now, because if he were to try to, he would very likely die to Billboard playing the long angle from B.
Smart, though, and they do have the usual swift execution and getting a decent amount of control early on. Maybe not as much map control as they would like, but they are able to open up the wall, and that's the important part. They've got steps 1 and 2 done. They just need to get step 3 going here, despite everyone still being alive on both sides. They managed to burn the ADSs. They've got some utility. They could even potentially clear out any gadgets like goo mines with those remaining EMPs that Glitch might have, and potentially disable the Yokai drone. That's the big thing, right? If they can hit the Yokai drone with that EMP, that could give them enough time to get the plant down, as it will not kill it, but will temporarily disable it. The drones will be spotted by another drone, so I love the irony there. But 3 Candelas remain on the board, and without those ADSs, that's going to be pretty helpful.
Slow going here for Nomads. One of their slowest attacks, in fact. Talon going to take out Thomas as Thomas attempts to eliminate the Yokai drone. He may have actually been successful in getting that Yokai drone, but it doesn't matter. He lost his life for it. The grenade from Rainbow going to miss, and he is actually pressured to fall back. Rainbow will get Yellow, though, as Yellow attempts to follow the sledge downstairs, and it was not a good call there. Slow push continues for Nomads. Now they have the vertical presence, though. The players downstairs. Sour with a push. Rainbow covers his back, and what a flick from Sour. He is unable to get any more kills, though, as he is eliminated by Bill. The important job is done, though, and the diffuser has been planted. In a 2 versus 2, this could be all there is to the rest of this match. Billboard drops down, going for the flank. He's got a lot of HP, and he might be able to catch X off guard if he's quiet enough, and he seems to have the positional advantage. He catches the flank of the Thermite, lines up the shot, and gets the kill. It was very slow, but it somehow still happened. The position from Rainbow is perfect, though, if he can just hold on for a little bit longer. Shotgun rush from the smoke, and oh no, Sinister move us to overtime. They have plenty of time, and Rainbow has nothing left to do but bleed out on the floor.
What a comeback. We saw mirror matches there in terms of one attack successful from each side. And now it's going to depend on who gets defense first. If anything matters here, that matters the most. If you get defense first here, you are most likely to win. I mean, when there's only been 2 attack rounds successful out of 10. So, Sinister now going from the huge back foot to suddenly kicking very hard against Nomads here.
So, basically, congratulations, Sinister, on winning the match. Really happy for you guys. Yeah. Unless Nomads can do something spectacular. But basically what this overtime role has given us is a result that says it is Sinister's match to lose.
Yeah.
If Sinister plays this right and Nomads doesn't do anything spectacular, then it is basically over.
Well, it's definitely going to be a close one. This is going to be, I mean, to be fair, there's been attack rounds 1. So it is possible.
2 of them, yes.
Yes.
Over 10 rounds, there have been, in fact, 2 attack round wins.
So,
amazing that.
It's possible. I mean, often when we see the shift around, it is at this point. There are many times where we think it is a foregone conclusion because of the pattern.
It's true.
And this is where the pattern switches, but certainly not always. There's a repeat of that bulletproof camera again. This is where they got stalled out so hard last time, though.
You know what it was for Nomads when they were attacking that basement? It was the fact that Sinister was playing ridiculously passive.
Yeah.
You saw Nomads just pushing into the building. They're like, where is everybody? And why can't we plant right now? And they just got crazy confused.
Yeah.
So if Nomads can look past that this round, then we might see another attack round win. But it's a tall task. It seemed like it's something was, really biting at them that they just couldn't get past.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how things go this round. Hopefully they're going to save an EMP to try and disable one of Billboard's yokais to try and help them out. They have the IQ this time as well to be able to spot it. And those 2 things alone are big game changers for what went down last time. That certainly doesn't guarantee success. There's the smoke as well, which is something that neither of those 2 will do anything about. But being able to stop Billboard from stopping them so often and so easily is going to be a big difference, although I suppose they could just go for a straight back take as well.
You also saw how precise Billboard was with setting up that yokai drone. Clearly a practiced drone.
Yeah.
And good positioning there to allow them to have that pure denial.
Ooh, the shots, though.
I believe that's Yellow roaming in tower. Not entirely certain there, but Sour not even trying to address it.
No, he's like, I got a job to do here. We execute quickly on this planet. Oh, no.
No, wasted Xcaro.
Will those still work, though? They still could potentially blow it? No.
No, I don't think they're going to open the drop down, but they are going to open up a bigger chunk of the wall, so at least there's that. Drop down open now. No more Xcaro's charges for X.
Well, not the best start here for a round where Sinister have the advantage. Good spot by Rainbow. Might have used his gadget to find it. He's definitely going to find the drone there. But again, there's the wooden beams help with it, but he tags it.
So that is a huge counterplay that we failed to notice in the actual operator's phase, which was, hey, they brought IQ to deal with the drone. And now, look at this. They can plant. And their C4 certainly set up. And there's gas canisters as well, but the gas canisters will miss. The C4 isn't coming. The EE1D forces them to stand still. And look at that! A 5 versus 5 diffuser plant by Nomads.
Oh boy.
What a change. All it required was an IQ, and they are rolling.
All right, it's all on you, Talon. Even though it's 5 out of 5, it's all on you.
Here comes the yokai drone, the second one from Billboard to try and distract, and it does do that. Sour and Thomas get kills of their own, but Yellow and Chap respond. It's a back and forth contest here, but it's all Nomad in the end. And we will see this go 6-5, Nomad favored.
Well, like I said, when it's going to switch, this is often the time for that to happen. And it was down to just, like we were talking about, reading into what was our biggest problem. not knowing where that darn yokai was.
Problem solved, though.
Problem absolutely solved.
Just like that.
I mean, in theory, they could have just gone with just the Thatcher and thatched it as long as it was within the time to plant. But to be fair, they also missed their throws.
They had the Thatcher. Last time they were attacking that site, the Thatcher was underneath the yokai drone for a solid 20 seconds while the yokai was denying the plant. That was the last time they attacked that site.
I don't know what to tell you at that point. That's just an oversight.
It was pretty funny, actually.
Blitz, please tell me that's a 6th pick. When you're on this kind of match point, there we go. You don't advertise you're going to bring a blitz on a situation like that. You definitely are covering it up. Talon making a smart choice. I definitely think Lion was impactful in that round as well, stopping them from stopping the plant in a situation where it was much harder for them to get the throws at the angles they wanted to be able to try and contest the actual plant going down. And then, of course, once the plant went down, it was a slugfest, though. There was a chance that Sinister could have won just off of frags at that point with 5 people alive. But as you said, they were playing very, very passive before. In that case, just didn't work out due to good plays by Nomads. So will Nomads be able to continue their defensive success? Because if so, then they lock this out.
Yeah, absolutely right. They were pretty strong in that last round, and it was all thanks to Sinister playing as passive as they had previously. Oh. And then also Nomads realizing that, getting the yokai, and then planting the diffuser. Easy peasy. Now it's Sinister's turn to try and do something similar, though I doubt Nomads will be nearly as passive on their hold of the bottom floor.
If this is anything like previous Sinister attacks, it'll be 2 minutes before they're done clearing meeting hall. And then maybe they'll push tower.
So they're gonna clear west side,
yeah.
And then they're gonna clear the main lobby, and then they're gonna clear meeting hall, and then they're gonna push in through tower and construction with 40 seconds left, and then the actual push into the site will be at 15 seconds left.
Maybe they have to clear the bus outside and the RV as well, and
just to be sure, yeah.
The plants,
Gotta be careful, man.
You never know.
Now we see these things, but there's got to be a reason why Sinister is doing.
Oh, for sure. We just
don't know what it is.
Got to give them a little guff. And like you said, if they can win, then we'll ask them.
Yeah.
If they can't, then I guess we don't get to know.
I'll find out on my own accord some other time. I need to know.
Look forward to the
Devin,
tweet from Kix.
I have to know.
Follow Kickstar on Twitter for that future tweet. This is what Billboard said.
No, I probably won't be tweeting that out. I was going to find out for myself.
Yeah,
but so the attack onto Meeting Hall has begun finally.
Ooh.
It's actually been a pretty efficient clear of the west side. So props to Sinister for that. I think they've realized that Nomads aren't really big on roaming west side.
Yeah,
they haven't had any roams on the west while defending the basement yet that I know of.
And Rainbow bailed that pretty quick. Sandbag is obviously going to protect him from that explosion. He's just going to peace out. They do have a smoke and an echo, as well as the pulse to identify where it's coming from. So hopefully that's enough utility for them to be able to try and repel this attack. Depends on them to succeed in the execution of that. I don't know if Sour's pulse play so far has been a huge impact on things, but hey, there's been a lot of defensive wins, so certainly could have been a factor.
So the information here for Nomads is mostly going to be reliant on the yokai drone, of course, but I think more the pulse and the Valkyrie camera. Now, the important thing here is that Cookies is playing on IQ, so these electronic devices are so easily spotted. We just lost one yokai drone, not to the IQ, but still lost it. Rainbow, though, just peeking, will take out Billboard, and he's pushing the main stairs. He also gets Cookies, a double for Rainbow, and he's going up for a third. He will get it. What is going on? This Jaeger on fire right now. Peeking onto the drop down, he's looking for more fights. He wants the tussle, but now he's finally back in the site, able to reload his gun. And you can see he's jumping for joy. He is all but certain, I'm sure, that he has just secured the victory for his team. A 2 versus 5 now, and not a great spot for Sinister, as they used one of their phone calls in an attempt to give away positions of their opponents.
Well, phone a friend might have been more appropriate at this point, and the barbed wire is still there in the smoke, which will slow him down when he tries to walk through it, so definitely no rush plant happening here.
You see X just going for a push. He knows he has the opportunity, and he will get the double kill. Nomads secure 2 in a row in overtime and take the match as a whole at the last possible moment.
I don't think they lost a single man that round either.
No, I believe it was a perfect round.
I feel like Rainbow realized that was his last chance to be MVP. Decided to try and push for it.
Oh boy, it was It was an interesting match, and it was a long one. It went pretty much all the way. We missed one regular round.
Yeah, you said it was very likely to happen, and it did. So good call on that in terms of predicting this to be a good back and forth. Often that doesn't happen when it should, but it definitely did today, and I think that's the result we should have gotten, and we did.